hit the stream button. Now we just gotta wait for it to go online. Give me just a second here. And we're live. Cool. Sweet.
Honestly, I feel like you should just like turn it on as soon as the shit starts. Because every time we have these sort of great conversations.
I know, right? We always the best conversations are always before the stream starts. You can ask Fringy, like when we got out of that stream with Rags, like we just had like these awesome discussions. I was like, man, this should have been the stream.
We'd been gone for like 3.5 hours at that point, though.
Yeah, and you're like, man, even I gotta go to bed. Anyway, welcome everyone to the stream. We got with us today, It's a Gundam, the brawler from Brooklyn, and we got Fringy, the man from the land down under.
Mm-hmm.
And you got me,
which outranks make me.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Frankie lives in an area where everything can kill you. Like the sun can kill you. Scorpion.
Even a kangaroo could kick you really hard.
A scorpion could beat I'm not a scorpion. A kangaroo could beat the living fuck out of you if it had a bad day. Frankie's the real deal.
I every time I go to the bathroom, I'm carrying an AK-47 just in case.
I'd carry a hatchet if I ever visited Australia. I'd be worried about a snake coming through the plumbing and biting me in the balls.
Even the koalas. Even the koalas are dangerous.
They don't take any shit.
They drop down. You got to worry about platypuses as well. They have venom, and if they sting you, then morphine won't work for 4 months. That's how bad it is.
Who the fuck knew platypuses had venom?
Yeah, well, you do now. So if you ever see a platypus on the street, don't watch out.
Oh my! Now I'm gonna be frightened to death of platypuses.
Oh,
they are really cool animals, but yeah, don't touch them.
The closest thing we got here are beavers, and you don't see them.
Yeah, but what's a beaver gonna do to you? Like, what's a beaver gonna? What can it do?
We also have a nutria. Those guys got rabies.
A nutria. What's that?
I agree.
That guy says your mom.
Is that?
That guy says your mom is down under.
Boom! The mom sex joke.
Okay, so if anyone does donate to the super chats, we'll go over those later near the end of the stream. But for the most part,
I just sent Fringy video to give him an idea as to who I am. It's like
I'll watch it later.
Yes, later.
Yeah, so these are both YouTubers that are much more successful than I am, and so I invited them on here to blow my ego.
Not sure about that.
Not sure about that. Fring is like, I'm looking at my bank account, don't know what you're talking about. Okay. So
I don't have enough money for platypus venom antidote.
Do you guys in Australia, do you guys are you by law, are you supposed to carry around like 5 or 10 different like anti-venom things with you? Like you just have like a pocket pouch full of them?
I mean, that might be smart, but there's too many things that are venomous. Like it would be totally impractical. I mean, most of the spiders. Well, yes, it would be like a large backpack with you every time. And even then, like, how are you going to know what bit you quick enough to... Like, what if you don't see it? You know what I mean? Like, then what are you going to do? There's so many things.
Do you live in a more, like, dense city area or, like, in a country?
Most Australians live in dense city areas. I mean, I think more than half of the population lives in one of the major cities. So, but there are still snakes here and spiders. You are not safe from snakes if you live in a city.
Did Australia have like a did they host some big mourning thing for Steve Irwin when he passed away? Fringy, do you remember?
That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was like 10 years ago.
That was a big deal, though. I remember that much because I remember I heard about it when I was at school. It was like, oh wow, really?
We lost a national treasure.
Yeah, yeah. No, he really was, though. He was a great guy. He did a lot for conservation efforts and all that.
His daughter lives here.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, she lives in Portland, I think. But
right,
weird.
Yeah. What do you mean weird, Gundam?
Well, I expect her to be in Australia carrying the torch.
Wow. Expect her to be in Australia carrying the torch.
I expected her to be out there sticking her finger up the ass of a fucking alligator or something.
All right,
this little guy here will definitely kill you. He's a platypus. And I'd be sitting there like, I had no idea.
Next
Thank you,
video
Bindi.
this week, guys. Pinky promise. Don't count on it. Hey, Fringy, how many fingers does your alien have, by the way?
He's not an alien. Oh.
What is he?
He's meant to be, like, in a costume, like a superhero, but not really. Like an incompetent one.
I had no idea what was going on. I went with it. I was like, he's an enraged Australian Ninja Turtle.
I remember seeing, like, a lot of people are like, why am I stuck on a popsicle stick? And, like, I have a lot, like, this huge book I wrote about the lore, and it's just ridiculous and stupid.
You wrote lore around your character.
I did.
I have because I wanted to do a comic about it. There's a kangaroo called Felix who doesn't talk, but he's like docile. He's basically Gromit, but kind of a little bit happier. Because I love Wallace and Gromit.
And there's a crude penguin to go with it and everything, or is he?
No. There's no penguin. There's a talking plush otter.
God damn it,
There's so much thought put into your characters.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I just love making up stuff, even if it's ridiculous. I just find it funny.
I went to my designer and I was like, Hunter S. Thompson, make it happen. And that's where I'm at.
All right, so let's actually get to talking about video games. Video games.
Yay!
If you hear any scratching, it's that damn dog destroying my carpet.
That's alright. I got two small dogs next to me, and all they usually do is, like, they play and they run around each other, and sometimes they'll try and hump each other. It's good stuff.
Yeah, yours are kind of behave. They don't destroy expensive stuff.
Turn up your mic volume, and I'll send you a super message and donate £50. Oh, it's me.
Ooh.
Is my mic volume down, guys?
I don't know. I hear you perfectly.
Maybe, yeah, I can hear you fine. Maybe mine's too high.
No, it's people in the chat are just gay. It's okay.
Okay. They're just wrong.
Well, you keep perpetuating it, being Papa Fruit.
Papa Fruit. So as long as you guys can remember, as long back as you can remember, what was the first system you guys played on, if you can remember?
The PlayStation 1.
Really?
Oh wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
What was like the first...
I'm not as old as you guys, I don't think. Maybe.
How old are you, Fringy?
Yeah. 121. So
oh, you're
that's
1 year younger than me.
See?
Yeah, but that was my first. Because we had the PlayStation, we played a lot of Crash Bandicoot.
Mm-hmm.
That was my thing.
90s kids, yeah. Gundam. I'm guessing your first machine was the Pong machine.
Exactly. You actually got out the Pong, and there's this ball, and you had to hit it to the asshole across the table.
And since you lived in New York, half the time you didn't know if they were going to steal the ball, so there was that.
Then you had to go outside and play stickball. It's like baseball, but shittier. So like throw a ball, and you got to get a stick and hit it with the ball. I forgot the rules, but always ended in a fight.
Well, if you can actually like remember like your first, God, I don't want to like say like real game because Pong and all those things I still consider them fully fledged games, but I guess not on the level of complexity that games got to like 5 or 7 years later.
Well, back when the West was one and men wore piano key neckties and Donald Trump was trying to sell you pizza, those are the better days. There's this thing called the Nintendo. And it was crazy. These Asian people made it.
The Nintendo. Oh, so that was your first platform was the NES. Was it? Hold on, guys. Give me just 1 second here. I think I accidentally turned off my headset. Keep talking. Can anyone hear me? Hold on, I messed with something. Hold on, guys. Hello?
Yep. We can hear you.
Oh,
yeah,
there
perfect.
we go. Sorry, now I'm back. I don't know what the hell. I'm trying to mess with the audio settings because there's like, turn up your microphone. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to find what's going on. But anyway, continue. So what were you saying? I didn't get a chance to hear it.
Oh, long story short, I was poor, so I played Nintendo Zelda when it first came out inside a Kmart next to the checkout lady.
Yeah.
And she used to go, "Where's your mother?" You're always here playing this. And I'm like, lady, back off. I only have one heart left.
I only have one heart left. Jeez. No, the first system I ever grew up on and played was the Sega Genesis, and the first thing I played was Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And when I say Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I mean like Sonic 3 attached to the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge. Yeah.
Right.
That shit was legendary.
It was like, oh my god, this technology. But
it was like, this is next level shit. Yeah. The future's here.
To this day, I still don't think people recognize how that is probably one of the best 2D platformers of the 16-bit era, because it was...
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I still go back and I play it, and just the amount of content that there is there, the replayability, it was just like the 16-bit Sonic games always had a huge step forward with each sequel. Like from Sonic 1 to 2 was like a huge step forward, and then Sonic 2 to 3 was another huge step forward. And then
except Spinball, that sucked dick.
What?
I hated Spinball.
I love Spinball. I thought Spinball was alright. Well, that's what I grew up with. I also remember playing... I also have a lot of fond memories of the PS1. I had an uncle at the time, and my mom was super religious. She didn't allow video games. But she was renting but she was renting to my uncle and my aunt, and they were living in they had 2 bedrooms in our house at the time, and I used to like sneak in there because my uncle would have a PS1, and I watched him play Crash 2 Warped. And I remember him handing me the controller, and I was playing like the...
No. It wasn't Crash 2 Warped, it's Crash 3 Warped.
Crash 3 Warped, right.
Remember, he knows this.
Crash
Bandicoot is technically Australian.
Yes, he is.
Crash. See, of course, he's a mascot in Fringy.
He's an icon. Yeah.
After they lost Erwin, all they had left was Bandicoot, dude.
Yeah, and then he went fairly quick after him too.
You know, I never thought we'd see Crash again. Like, honestly,
yeah, neither did I.
After what was it? The Titans game crashed in the Titans.
The last one was Mind Over Mutant, which came out about a year after. Yeah.
I remember I was like, I was a little open to the idea of giving him a change to his appearance and his gameplay style. And I don't.
Yeah, but I mean, they took it too. No. That was Sonic Unleashed, where they turned him into a werehog. That doesn't even make sense. Doesn't even make sense. Werewolf means man wolf.
And he's still in complete control when he's under the werewolf state too. So it's also like, well, there goes that idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember my uncle passing me the controller, and I was in the scuba diving area. You remember that level, Fringy?
Yeah.
I do. The most painful level in the game. I don't know why, but to this day, that's what I remember the most. But me being like this kid who wasn't allowed to touch video games, I was sitting there and I was like getting my ass handed to me. I'm like, this is the most amazing thing ever, and I was having the time of my fucking life. But that's
as a kid, you don't appreciate it.
Yeah, well, no, as a kid, you appreciate just about any kind of video game. But then I have like a huge collection of Genesis games and Super Nintendo games over here, and every now and then I'll put them in my SNES, my Genesis, and I'll play them. Like, man, I can't believe I liked this as a kid. This is terrible, but
yeah, some of them are really bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like Super Metroid is still really good.
Oh my god,
I still love Maximum Carnage from Sega Genesis.
Oh my god, that game. Did you have the red cart?
Yes, I have it in the closet right now.
Oh my god, I believe the arcade version allowed for 2 people, but both the SNES and Genesis version were just single player, right? I don't remember.
I think it was 2-player, wasn't it? We can Google that. Now we have this powerful new thing.
It's called the internet. You can get hookers on it.
You can actually find hookers on the internet, but that will be for another stream.
If you're Dark Side Phil, you can get an escort on the internet. I don't.
Now that turned out to be a whole thing. That was amazing.
Thank God, but like that was such a complex story that happened with Phil. That
it was beautiful. The orchestration was Machiavellian. Honest to God. You're like, oh, it wasn't a real hooker. Then you find out what actually happened. You're like, my mind is blown.
That wasn't the only thing that he got blown. No. No, he probably didn't get the other part blown. She was probably like, I'll hold your hand and like maybe I'll peck you, but I ain't going down on you, Phil. You masturbate.
Snort, I'll take it.
You spit on me. Can you at least spit on me? I would appreciate that. Anyway.
Yeah, there's just no way to recreate that snort without hurting yourself.
Me and Gundam, we're Phil, what he calls Phil detractors. We think Phil is a huge piece of shit.
Yeah, but that makes you like most people.
So I got these coworkers where I work, and they are completely out of touch with pop culture and the internet and all that kind of stuff. Like, if you showed them memes, they wouldn't get like 90% of them. If you told them the name of YouTubers, they wouldn't get it. Like, most people that aren't in our age group, aside from Gundam, who I still don't know how old he is. No offense.
I'm like a vampire, honestly. I've been told that my nickname in my group is Vampire Jesus.
So basically, yeah, they have no idea about any YouTube celebrities. I mean, I think they know who PewDiePie is, but that's because PewDiePie is like on the news.
Yeah, he was everybody knows who he is.
I started telling them the stories of DSP, and like, there's no way this is true. I'm like, no, this is true. This guy jerked off on stream. This guy insults kids live on stream. He tells people who donate money to him, thanks for the money, dummies. I tell him all of that, and then I showed them that quick clip where Phil basically orgasms on stream. And now they think he's like the biggest piece of shit ever. And like every time I walk into the office, I'm getting some things. They turn to me like, "Hey, now don't go dark side Phil on us." And I just laugh. I'm like, look, even people who don't associate with YouTube think this guy's the biggest joke ever.
Well, he doesn't treat the people who make his job very well, which is the oddest part, since he very stubbornly doesn't want to do anything else, but yet he treats the people who enable him to do this job with such disrespect. It's amazing. I'm surprised anybody would be sticking around.
Well, people
maybe Phil read the 48 Laws of Power and understands that the level of mental manipulation and masturbation you have to do to keep the people around requires such evil. Or my other theory is that Phil Brunel is a performance artist.
He might be. I mean,
years, he's going to come out and go, "Hello, my name is Alabaster. I have been portraying the character of Darkside Phil for a long time now.
Well, I mean,
I wanted to show you a social experiment," and everyone go, "Oh my god, he's the greatest thing ever." Or they probably
I just went onto his channel right now. In the last 24 hours, he's uploaded like 30 videos. Because he takes the streams that he does and he chops them up by 10-minute chunks. So just enough to where you can have two. I bet you he's running 2 ads on these. Let me see. Like, just long enough that you could put a mid-roll ad into it, and then and does that every day. And it's like, there's so much that he has to put the date of upload and then part 3, because if he did parts like chronologically without making breaks, there'd be probably hundreds of them.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, if you streamed the way, if you uploaded the way Darkside Phil does, you could theoretically make a somewhat livable wage off of it.
Yeah, but I mean, you're making terrible content though. Like this.
There's
so much. So much that nobody can watch all this. That's why it only gets like 200 views.
Phil's the equivalent of a teenager working at Wendy's, working the fries. He doesn't give a fuck, but he's got to get it done. And he'll do it any way he pleases. And he just puts the salt on it, like, just throws it in the air. Here's your fucking content, idiots.
Well, I mean, he's playing right now. He's streaming Bully right now. Yeah. It's like that's the thing. It's like every day for 8 hours or 10 hours, and then cuts it up, and then that's the work for the day. But that's not work. That doesn't take any effort.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
I was watching a stream from him where he was talking about how it's so much harder to Twitch stream than edit videos for YouTube.
Excuse me? What? I would bring him here and tell him to edit one of my reviews. Like, that takes at least 2 full days of work, like, to edit.
You know he has carpal tunnel syndrome from playing Getting Over It. He's like, oh man, it's like I've got arthritis, dude.
I remind you of that episode of South Park when they were all playing World of Warcraft, and then like Kyle got carpal tunnel because he was playing it for too long, and then he Cartman has to waddle over to the thing to like get the cream to put on his hand, but they're all morbidly obese now because they've all been playing World of Warcraft all day.
There's an irony here now.
Hold on a second.
It always has to come down to Darkside Phil, doesn't it, Gundam? All the time.
Darkside Phil is the center of the universe somehow.
You know, that's a good theory. Like, what if all of his failures, are what fuels the success of the world? And, you know, I mean, hear me out on this.
Without him to feed the black hole, our universe would cease to spin.
No, hear me out on this. We're gonna go Full Metal Alchemist on this shit. You know,
I'm listening.
You know that God, what is it? It's been a while since I watched Full Metal, but it's the give and take principle.
Oh, equivalent exchange.
Equivalent exchange. What if all of DSP's failures are the equivalent exchange to everyone else's success? Like, each time I mean, he's live on stream 24/7, so there's more than enough fuel for all of his failures to equivalently exchange, you know, an equivalent exchange. And that's why, you know, people like me, you and Fringy, we get, you know, views and likes, and people not dissing us for just existing. It's because DSP...
The reason why we get views and likes is because we're busting our ass working on some of these things.
No,
we're sitting here like scrubs editing videos, and Phil's got it right. He shows up there, plays PUBG like pure rotten shit.
Oh.
Nothing to do! And then someone gives him $100.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, we're doing videos that take 3 days to happen.
Hey, now, there's one part we can't diss him on. The guy's making more money doing what he does than what we do.
All of us combined, probably.
But then again, to be fair, I don't think we're exactly 100% in it for the money.
No,
that's the problem.
Yeah.
If I was in it for the money, I would have quit years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I would have.
If I was
in it for the money, I would have gone Markiplier.
Nemesis don't.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of better ways to make money on YouTube than actually making these fully scripted, edited videos. I mean, that's probably the hardest. Aside from, you know, doing animation, you're going to have a difficult time if you're trying to make long form. Especially now when everybody wants to do video essays, it's kind of become an oversaturated market in a lot of ways. Like, there's so many of these tiny channels doing video essays on films. It's like they watched every frame of painting and they said, yeah, I can do that. But then they don't actually analyze the film. They just sort of state the obvious. Yeah. You know, Logan is about a man coming to realize that he needs to have a family. Yeah, really?
You know? It's like, I don't want to diss Quentin Reviews because I think the guy makes some pretty great videos, but there are times, like his Star Wars video, like I said,
his Star Wars video was terrible.
Yeah, I watched it and I was just kind of like, you're kind of losing your sense of objectivity here, Quentin, because I used to watch him because he was very objective with a lot of his views, and then he would also put in some subjective opinions, and I think there's a balance between the two. People want to hear what you think about something, but they also don't want you to trample. They don't want you to trample over what's objective about the movie. You know, this was bad. You know, this soundtrack was bad. This storytelling doesn't make sense. You know, and so that's what I respect about Quentin. But I think he kind of started this influence of if you just kind of like half-ass some movie reviews, you'll get there. And I think Doug Walker was there at one point. Like, his early Nostalgia Critic videos, I do enjoy some of them, but some of them are kind of half-assed at times. He doesn't actually give critical... It's a whole thing that I kind of want to script and write down because...
The thing about that review, though, that Star Wars one from that Quentin guy was he his review effectively boiled down to, as long as you ignore all the problems with the story and its characters, it's actually a good movie.
Yeah.
That's what people tell me.
Yeah.
You know, that's and a lot of these reviews sound like that, where they tell you, oh, it's nitpicking, but you know, a plot hole is not a nitpick. It's an objective flaw in the story. If one thing contradicts another thing, that's a flaw. There's no way of getting around it.
Yeah. I think you know, I've heard people say that Quentin and I Hate Everything mainly made those videos to try and be controversial, but I think that they were actually given their legit opinions, because there was a lot of mainly on Quentin's. I wouldn't say I Hate Everything's. I Hate Everything has always he's always trying to be controversial. That's his thing. But with Quentin, he put a lot of there was a lot of care put into what he was saying, with how angry he was at people for dissing the movie.
Yeah, but that's the thing I don't get. Why are you getting angry at people for not liking something you like? Come on, calm down. It's a movie. We're just saying we don't like it.
Yeah, but that's when he comes up with reasons for people to hate the movie. That's where
that really annoys me. Like, could the reason not simply be that they don't like the movie? You don't tell them that they're racist. Like, what are you doing? You can't do that. You can't just tell them that they're racist because they don't like a movie.
Yeah, and then while I have when I already have problems with those guys, then I have a little bit of problems with like Sargon and Paul Joseph. I mean, I already have plenty of problems with Paul Joseph Watson. I think the guy's a fucking moron, but
I've noticed.
I have a little more respect for Sargon to an extent, and I just think their whole idea that Black Panther, the politics behind it, it's alt-right, and
no, it isn't.
It's just
bad guy is alt-right.
Yeah, here's the thing. No, Uganda starts off as a sort of alt-right utopia, I guess. It has, you know, they want to keep the culture pure. They don't want other people to be in Wakanda and all that kind of Wakanda, that kind of stuff. But then the movie takes a turn where basically the main character's goal is to end that utopia, is to end the way that they're living. So it's sort of
the whole arc of the story is him coming to realize, like, T'Challa. I'm not spoiling anything. You've either seen it or you haven't. If you're not seeing it now, you aren't gonna. So okay, what you don't want me to say?
Spoiler warnings for people. I mean,
for the next minute, for the next minute, I'll just say, okay, 3, 2, your chance, 3, 2, 1. So the whole point of the story is that T'Challa comes to realize that because they have the capacity to help other people, they should. And so by the end of the movie, they've stopped being an isolationist state and are now sort of doing outreach programs and stuff in the United States and elsewhere, presumably. So literally the whole arc is him coming to realize that actually trying to maintain some sort of utopia where nobody else is allowed in is wrong. So how can anybody say that that's alt-right? It's the antithesis of that.
Right. And then, you know, there are moments I like Sean, moments I don't like Sean, but he did put out a video where he basically refuted that idea that was brought up by Sargon and Paul and Stefan I can never say that guy's name.
Stefan Molyneux is a bit retarded, though.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, this whole concept, I mean, you figured that you'd get these people's thoughts on the movie, critical analysis of it, not like a dissecting the politics.
They're not film reviewers.
Yeah.
They aren't film reviewers.
No,
so
you
not. Shouldn't have expected that.
No, but they're film reviewers when they want to be, and they're not film reviewers when they want to be either.
Well, I mean, I think Paul Joseph Watson hasn't displayed any real interest in film. I mean, considering how much he doesn't care about the Oscars, though he talks about it a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing about Paul is he starts off his Black Panther video by saying, I haven't seen Black Panther yet. But then
how can you talk about it?
Then he goes on to give his opinions on the politics of the movie, probably from word of mouth rather than actually watching it himself. And
it is on that because he hasn't seen the film. Mm-hmm. You can't make a movie. You can't make a video about a film that you haven't seen. Are you kidding me?
Basically, but that's where, I mean, I already have a lot of problems with Paul. You know, I already have a shit ton of problems with Paul. But anyway, $2 from Nemesis. Thoughts on ESRB response to loot boxes / gambling? I think it's very lazy and very poor and doesn't actually solve anything. That's what I think.
Is exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, it conflates DLC with microtransactions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
if you buy The Witcher 3, Witcher 3, it will say that.
Yeah,
it will say in-game payments.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's to be expected. Corruption. Come on.
So basically,
well, I mean, it's
you're gonna get this in like 90% of the games you get. You're gonna see that on the
yeah. I mean, even Mario Kart is gonna have that. You know, Mario Kart and Legend of Zelda. It's dumb. I mean, it's and the fact that they keep saying we do not consider it gambling. Like, come on, guys. It's by the definition it is.
Cards.
Well, yes, but imagine it this way: if you went to a casino and you were guaranteed to get a cent every time you rolled, therefore it's no longer gambling according to ESRB.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It's that's the way they're gonna work around it. Nobody really wants to come up with a solution. They just kind of want to.
Why would they kill the goose that laid the golden egg?
Basically, this is them telling all the people complaining, "Oh, look, we're working on something," but they're never gonna come to a conclusion. They're just it's gonna be one of those things where, look, we're constantly working on these issues, but they're never gonna actually come to a solution. They're just gonna continue to
it's lip
to come up with
service.
different ideas. Yeah. Basically.
But the thing is, I thought the ESRB was an independent organization. I mean,
oh no,
are they? Oh,
they have to have some influence. No.
Let me see.
They basically were made so that the gaming companies could get away from all the bullshit that they were under. The scrutiny they're under now happened before in the early 90s. So the ESRB came in flourishing. So it's kind of like, okay, look, we got a rating system.
Well, here's what it says on their website. The ESRB is the non-profit self-regulatory body that assigns ratings for video games and apps so parents can make informed choices. Are you kidding me? I thought it was just a rating system.
Yeah.
I lost a link that showed members of Activision and EA are part of the ESRB. So,
okay, right. So then it's a non-profit, but it's a company that's got ties, like really.
It's self-regulated. In that sense.
Someone.
Okay. Yeah. No wonder then.
Yeah, someone says the solution is easy. Remove chance and randomness, and it's no longer under gambling.
Yeah, but then it's not loot boxes anymore. You're buying what you want, and that's what they don't like, because when it's random chance, you're more likely to spend more money than you want.
Exactly.
That's why most games have loot boxes.
Okay.
Well, of course. I mean, of course. If I want to buy something in Overwatch, I would just buy the skin I want, but I can't. I have to roll for a loot box.
Right, but
then
that's
you
because
to roll again.
Right, but but then eventually everybody that wanted to buy something would have bought it, and then there won't be an endless loop of profit.
Exactly.
Well, like yes, that's exactly.
Activision and Blizzard have made what, $4 billion or something?
They've made a lot of money on Overwatch. I think they made and this was last year. They made something like 500 million on the microtransactions.
They made $1 billion within a year of existing.
So
I mean, it's a very successful product.
See, like, now this kind of ties into the gaming memories part,
Mm-hmm.
because I do remember growing up. There was in-game purchases, but they were purchased through actual, like, you know,
in-game currencies.
You had in the video game, like the video game itself has a market for you to buy stuff that you have to grind for in the game, and you can't actually buy it with a credit card. Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I mean, and one game that recently did that was Mario Odyssey. Like, almost all the costumes you can get from Mario gotten from the purple coins, and you can only get them by actually working for them.
Yeah, no, that's right. Ratchet and Clank didn't have them, the new one. You know, you didn't have to roll to get the Rhino. You could buy that with bolts.
I don't see anything in Divinity Original Sin 2. Not yet.
No.
Anyway.
And I think that's a good example, though, that you don't need to have them. That game was funded for way less than most games are made with.
Oh, yeah. Or Hat in Time, you can get a lot of flares and different colors in the game, and there's, like, no way to actually, like, purchase them. But you know, then you got these video game companies telling everyone that games aren't profitable because of how much that they're investing into making this game. And then when you look at their expenses, you question, is that necessary? Like, oh, is it necessary to really be paying Anita Sarkeesian to fly all the way over here to give us her thoughts on it?
Yes, you could cut down on a few of those costs.
Is it necessary to get Robert Downey Jr. in your commercial to do one line?
Like, who would you rather have? Would you rather pay to have Anita come and tell you what she thinks about your video game?
Or pay Gundam, you're right, Wu-Tang.
Or pay Gundam. Or would you rather pay John Romero to come and give you some thoughts on the shooting mechanics?
Honestly, you know, now that I think about it, I find that really insulting that they think that, like, Anita Sarkeesian's opinion matters more than just any other person who's in the video game industry. Like, who talks about video games. You know, PewDiePie would be more qualified to go in and tell them what he thinks, and he's an entertainer. Because at least he's not misinformed. At least he doesn't say erroneous things.
Well, but again, that's another one.
You know?
Yeah, like, it's like, are they gonna pay money? Are they gonna pay money to get God, what's his face? Fucking A. His face was in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Kevin Spacey. Are they gonna pay money? Are they seriously paying Kevin Spacey millions to get him in the video game and not investing that money into, you know, and actually it would probably be even cheaper to actually get experienced game designers to come for a few hours and give tips rather to spend millions on Kevin Spacey in the game. And like,
well, that's a big problem right now, is a lot of games spend a lot of money on their voice cast. And then that makes it even more expensive to develop. I mean, Kevin Spacey would have been getting paid like millions for that.
Oh yeah,
there's no way that was cheap.
Stonesy.
Oh yeah, Kiefer Sutherland, Metal Gear Solid 5 would have been heaps.
Oh man, that pissed me off so bad, dude.
I love Kiefer Sutherland though. I love him. He's great.
Well,
no, that shit burnt my ass. It's like,
I can understand because David Hayter.
He barely said shit.
Oh, I know.
See, okay, now it's a little conflicting because there is certain injustices, quote unquote injustices. You know, the voice actors to these video games, you know, they're in there for more sessions and they're working harder, recording lines for characters,
getting paid less.
Getting paid less, and then they get Kevin Spacey in there for like, I don't know, a day or two to capture his face. But then again, you also have to remember that there's money behind Kevin Spacey, and
that's the reason why he gets paid a lot. It's not how much work. I mean, this happens in the film industry all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Downey Jr. got paid more than Tom Holland for Spider-Man: Homecoming, even though he plays the lead role. That's just how it works when it comes to casting. Yeah. You know, you get paid the most depending on your box office draw.
Basically.
Well, I don't see how that translates in the game, because I was going to buy Metal Gear regardless of Keith or Sullivan.
Okay, give me just
because Kojima wanted someone else.
Yeah, Kojima just wanted to blow somebody.
So Stonesy 87.
Bring me Hollywood actor.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah. Chuchi, I can't believe you did that racist impression.
Stonesy 87, 199 pounds. Have some shekels, faggot. Thank you.
Have some shekels, faggot.
What was it?
I want that on a check.
You want to be rags? Yeah. There we go. Nemesis $2. Loot boxes equal gambling. Adults can still buy. Kids can't.
Well, at least they don't have loot boxes for my pornography, or I'd really be pissed then.
714 Gamer, $2.99. $1 more and Papa Frit make Dark Side Popsicle. Okay, yeah. I'll actually go ahead and make that and put that on Twitter. A lot of people seem to like Pop Tech TV. That was pretty good.
I like it. It was very creative, I felt. The only thing that's missing is the little popsicle didn't jump around and move.
He was in the video for a few seconds. J-Tech was in my video for a few seconds. I felt so honored. Anyway, so second here. Okay, so before
you better be careful. He might sue you.
Before you guys got into like PC gaming, what was the last system that you? Hell, I don't even know if you guys, if the PC is mainly your platform. Fringy, I know you play Switch.
It is.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, but PC is still main because it's got most of my games.
Right. Okay. So before the PC was your main platform, what was the system you guys were playing on?
Mine was the PlayStation 3.
Same.
So I was playing that, and then people I knew were talking about PC gaming, and for a little while, I was like, yeah, I was sort of in that camp of people who were not like malicious against PC gaming, but I wasn't as informed on it. I didn't really know that much about it, but then I started looking into it. I got my first PC, and then I basically was like, yeah, I can't go back to playing on consoles anymore. Like primarily, this is what I got to stick with.
Yeah.
It's an eye-opening experience when you get onto PC. Like when you get a really good PC and you play there, it's such a awesome sort of it really is.
Yeah, it is. Before I got to PC, I was also gaming on the PS3, and it's kind of hard to believe, but I gamed on a PS3 for 8 year nonstop. That's hard to believe. Yeah. That is hard to believe, but that's how long I was on the PS3. I think that's how long a lot of people were. But God, when you look at it, I was just getting out of the 7th grade. Just getting out of the 7th grade when I started playing the PS3, but I have such fond memories with Demon Souls. That's the first game I played on the PS3, and I was blown away because at the time I was just this kid, and most of what I had played was simple games. I played a lot of I wouldn't say Banjo-Kazooie's simple, but I played a lot of Banjo-Kazooie. I played a lot of Mario 64. I played a shit ton of Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy re-releases on the PS1. I don't know if you played any of those, but that's how I played Final Fantasy 5 and 6. Not the best way to play those games, honestly, because the PS1 versions of those games had loading issues and were pretty slow and clunky. But that's what I was playing, and then I played Demon Souls, and I was like, this game is kicking my ass, and I'm just this kid. And the last thing I was playing was San Andreas, and now I'm playing this. What the fuck is this? And that's the game. That's the game that really got me into more complex RPGs. And
yeah, I really wish I got to play Demon Souls. I wish I got to play it. No, but also just I wish I got to play it before Dark Souls happened, just so that I could have that sort of perspective before it became this big phenomenon.
Oh yeah, no, and I can tell you, Dark Souls is much better. But even then, there was a lot of things lost from Demon Souls when it transitioned to Dark Souls. But the fact that it was now a series that everyone would get a chance, or genre that everyone would get a chance to try out on their preferred platform was a good thing.
Oh yeah,
I didn't get to play Dark Souls. I didn't get to play Dark Souls until I was already a PC gamer, just to let you know. So I did a full run and playthrough for the first time of Dark Souls back in 2015. And I had to get DS fixed because I remember when I started the game, I'm like, why is everything so fucking blurry?
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
But DS fix basically made that game playable and probably the best version you can get of Dark Souls. But yeah, that game itself, when I finally played it, I didn't all the memories I had of Demon Souls. Because I had a lot of memories built up from Demon Souls, and when I started playing Dark Souls, the difference was huge to me, and I went back to play Demon Souls recently on what's pretty much my dead PS3, and I can honestly say that it's a series that should have ended at Dark Souls, because I did play Dark Souls 2 and 3, and I did like 3, and there are bits I liked about 2, but even the creator of Dark Souls himself, not creator, but director, I forgot what
the director.
Yeah.
I know his name, but on the tip of my tongue. Damn.
Yeah. I didn't even know your character had a tongue, but anyway.
You're right.
Remember, he's a superhero with a mask on.
Yeah, but even he himself said that he felt there should have never been a sequel to Dark Souls, and when you play Dark Souls 2 and 3, they almost feel artificial in their design.
Well, I mean, the issue with Dark Souls 2 is that it kind of makes the ending of Dark Souls 1 redundant. It's not a choice. One of them is canon.
Really?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, just think about the yeah.
I never got the fucking lore of that damn series.
Oh man, when you get into the lore, you're just
it's great. Yeah.
I played Demon Souls when I still had my PS3 before I jumped to PlayStation, and it didn't bother me at all. I liked it because I was used to Final Fantasy XI, which was like Dark Souls of MMOs, dude. If you got anywhere alone, you would get raped by a goblin or something. Charbuncle, you see this cute little guy coming out. He's got a candy. You're like, oh, it's Charbuncle. And he takes out his knife and just jabs you once in the gut. Your character's dead. You're down leveled. You got two choices. You can beg for help and hope someone will res you, or you can take the L, go back to your starting point, and go fuck yourself. Your armor's broken. Fix it.
Yeah.
So when Demon Souls came out, I liked it, but then Skyrim hit right after that. And I moved on to that for some reason. Me and my girlfriend at the time played the shit out of that. And I never beat the game even though I was at the last boss. Then I fucked off for a while.
Skyrim is another one of those big games I never beat. Like, I did everything.
I never played it, really.
Yeah, I did everything in the game except beat it. That's my thing with Bethesda games. I do almost everything except beat them. And unless it's Fallout 3 and 4, which I did beat, but my smile quickly turned into a frown on that. But
here's the thing, man. Like, Skyrim I beat because it was on the PlayStation, and it was still a god-awful fucking port. Sometimes the freezing, the DLC took forever to come out.
Yeah.
The same with Fallout 3. I remember trying to beat the DLC, playing it like 5 frames a second, praying I could make it to a save point so I could restart my system and do it again.
Yeah. No, God, I put countless hours into Fallout 3 and Skyrim on the PS3. And I remember playing it as a kid. Even then, I was like, my God, this is the worst piece of shit. It runs like garbage, but I'm having the time of my life.
I beat 3. I beat New Vegas. Ironically, there's a character in the PlayStation 3 version of Fallout New Vegas that works in the NCR. And he's outside of that prisons area that looks identical to me, which is funny.
God, I've beaten New Vegas like 20 times. Like, I just love that.
New Vegas is the good one.
It's my favorite game of all time. I just can't move on from it. It's still installed on my computer, and I don't even play it without mods. Here's the thing: it's like one of the few like games published by using Bethesda's engine and their work and everything. It's like
that you could actually play without mods.
Yeah, it's one of the few Bethesda games out there that you can play without mods.
Everything else intolerable.
So anyway, Game Challenger gives $10. Might as well start a donation train. Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't mind. I don't think I would. Stonesy87, close to 20 pounds. Have you guys said your thoughts on Nintendo Direct? Oh yeah. Also, what are Gundam and Fringy's thoughts on JTech TV's video and reaction to Crash's now multi-platform status? I already made a video on it, so you guys know my thoughts, but Gundam, you give your thoughts. Fringy, you don't know much about this because you actually have a life.
I know. I'm vaguely aware of what happened. I mean, when I watched the Direct, I was like, I saw Crash and I was like, wait, what? But then I remembered that I called about a year ago that it would be going multi-platform. There was a tweet that was tweeted out by Sony, PlayStation UK and Ireland, that said it was PS4 and PS4 Pro first. Guess what that means? Power of deduction. It's not exclusive. It'll come to other platforms. So I even though I saw it and I was like, oh, wait, what? At the same time, I thought, yeah, I saw this coming. And that's good, because now lots of people get to play Crash. Yeah. But apparently, it's actually bad that more people get to play a game that you like because they didn't play it on the platform you want them to. Who'd have thought that?
No,
What's
JTech? Okay, people call me an elitist, but I'll tell you one thing right now. JTech is an actual elitist. It's PlayStation or it's nothing to him, basically, when it comes to this. I mean, right now he's worshiping Monster Hunter for its exclusive.
Yeah, when that ends up coming to PC, what's going to happen? He's going to disown it.
I left to get takeout, and I already know you're talking about JTech.
We got Appa Ben. He's in the stream. Hi, Appa.
Hi, Appa Ben.
If you want to join us, let me know. I'll drop you in. We're not going to get political, though. Not yet. No, never.
Yeah, we're definitely avoiding political stuff.
Hold on, I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but Ben, if you shoot me a message, I'll drop you in if you want to join. PC Monster Hunter Q3, Q4.
Does JTech stream?
Oh yeah, he streams all the time.
Yeah, I might have to go to one of his streams and fuck with him. I mean, if I'm blocked on Twitter, I may as well be blocked on YouTube and everything else.
Oh yeah. JTech TV would block his grandma if she talked bad about his exclusives. Okay,
So,
Grandma, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. No, the idea that people will be able to play Crash on the go, or be able to play it at 60 FPS, or be able to play it on the shit box, one.
These horrible people. They don't deserve
these horrible
Crash.
people. Who the hell do they think they are? They didn't support it day one on its proper platform. How dare they? How
scumbags.
Dare they? Yeah.
How dare you experience Crash at 4K, lock 60 FPS? You don't need Spider-Man, you ungrateful cretins.
Oh, I still haven't sent Appa Ben a friend request, actually. Here, I'm sending him a friend request right now. Anyway, sorry, I'm gonna read this one super chat real quick.
Go right ahead.
$1.99 from the 714 gamer. To the hashtag beat the shit out of Phil Foundation. Sorry. I mean, you can give that. I honestly recommend you give that money to Gundam. He's a New Yorker.
Thank you for your donation.
He's a.
I'd fight Phil. I would.
I know you would. I believe it.
I'd fight a couple motherfuckers from YouTube. Like, you pay the ring, you put it on the internet, I'll do it.
Who would?
I don't go. Fuck. I won't even train.
Here,
whoever the fuck needed it.
I'm adding Appa Ben in. Yeah. Whenever he wants to
pay the ring, you put it on the internet.
Hey, Appa.
Hello.
How are you doing?
How are you guys doing?
I know you're not the giant flying buffalo from Avatar, so I gotta stop calling you
that. Oh, look, your circle is still off axis.
Shut the fuck up. No, we're just sitting back, chilling, talking about... Well, we're trying to talk about gaming stuff, but Darkside Phil always comes up, and it's just hard to...
Well, we're going to get Frutanga to fight Phil.
No,
I'll train
you. No, I said you're the Brooklyn Brawler. You can go for...
The Brooklyn Brawler isn't a great name, because I didn't win every fight I was in. I've been knocked out plenty of times. Don't sit there and think... Like, don't think I'm like Bruce Lee or something.
You know, okay, you know what's my most favorite scene from all the Spider-Man movies out there?
The one where he starts dancing?
No. No, the one where he gets in that cage fight with Macho Man, Randy Savage. I love that scene. Saw's ready. Love that scene. It's great.
I love that scene.
Yeah. There's some things to be liked about the original. No, I wouldn't say original, but
here's a funny story.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my old YouTube channels. It involved me wearing a Spider-Man suit that was from the movie, identical to the film. Oh, no. And when Macho Man died, I did a video doing an impression of Macho Man having a heart attack in his car and then crashing to his death, dressed as Spider-Man.
I don't know if you guys ever watched WCW back then, but there was like this one promo where Booker T's with his brother backstage, and they're being interviewed, and like he's basically talking about how he's gonna beat the shit out of Hulk Hogan in that promo, and then he finishes it off. He gets near the end, he's like, "Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you, nigga!" And then as he says that, he realizes what he says, and he puts his hands down,
and everybody's like shocked.
He turns around, and he's like, like he tries to play it cool, like it didn't happen.
Well, he can't break character.
It was just one of the best things. Booker T will break character all the time. I mean, the guy's just... All those wrestlers back in the day, they were all like meth heads and coke addicts.
That's when they were fun, man. Razor Ramon was an inspiration. The dude would get tore up on cocaine.
And then
he would do his shit.
And he would actually physically beat the shit out of the person that he was having the match with, like even though he wasn't supposed to. Like he just doused up on coke, and if the person messed up, if he messed up for 1 second, he'd like, I remember like he'd like throw an actual jab at his face. Oh, those times. How have you been, Oppa?
Man, I haven't watched wrestling for a while. I've been good.
Okay.
I've been watching. I haven't watched wrestling for a while because they banned it here.
What?
They
What?
banned it on
really?
TV.
Really?
Yeah, they banned it. They banned it for like 10 years more on TV. But unfortunately, the internet comes in and the government is like very not tech savvy.
Right.
Oh, fucking-
So they can't do anything then.
They can't.
Wow. Wow.
So you mean you grew up without Razor Ramon, high as hell on coke, jabbing people? That's just a travesty.
Indeed.
Oh my god. Indeed, it is. And they don't got any wrestlers from Indonesia either. If they did, they probably
No, because. But they have boxers though. That's weird.
They have lady boys too.
What?
No, that's in Thailand.
I believe that is Thailand.
Oh man, you guys really have nothing. Damn.
Oh, so
I used to have a friend who this is a sad story. He'll probably never see this, so I don't have to worry about him coming after me. Not like he could kick my ass anyway. But I remember he had trouble meeting chicks. And I just go, oh man, David, don't let it get to you. And then all of a sudden he started doing this weird stuff. Like sending me photos of chicks through like Yahoo Messenger. This is how way back we're talking when the internet was young and fresh. And I'm like, oh yeah, hot chicks, hot chicks. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That chick is a dick, dude. What the fuck is this? What's going on here? And he's like, oh, I guess it slipped. And then like a week later, a couple more slipped by. And I'm like, all right, dude, where are you getting all these chicks with dick pictures? And he's like, listen, man, you know, it's so hard to meet women. I've been really thinking. And I'm like, what are you thinking, dude? Just let it out, dude. I'm your brother. You know, I'm listening to anything. Man, I'm thinking about trying to date, like, you know, transsexuals because I think they might be easier than real women. And I'm like, okay, but here's the question. When you date a transsexual, when does it become gay in your book? Because for me, you're already making out with a dude with tits. Nothing personal to anybody who's a transsexual. God bless you. But you're technically making out with a dude with tits. And then when it comes to sex, like what happens when your balls rubs on hers? Like, could you explain to me when does it become gay? Then he said something like, dude, and it's not Indonesia. What'd you say? Thailand, right? He's like,
Yeah, it's in
Thailand is the Disneyland for transsexual chasers. And I'm
Oh
like,
man,
you know this.
my sister has been to Thailand and she brought in pictures of like these very transsexuals. I swear to God, like it's completely indistinguishable from actual Chinese women. That is until you hear their voice.
Oh, that
Until you hear their
was a
voice.
fantasy. You're like, you're so cute, Pai Mei. Oh, thank you very much.
well,
It's like, don't talk, sweetie.
I'm gonna have to, after this stream is done, I'm gonna have to quickly change the thumbnail and the name of the stream to something else. Cause holy fuck. And,
No,
We're
it's
not
fine.
talking about life video games.
just to let
Got a
everybody-
special guest here.
Yeah, just to let everybody know, we just hit 19,000 subscribers just right now. So I want to thank everybody
Congrats.
live in the stream for all the hours
God mode.
you wasted on my content, and we're gonna say waste because it was a waste. Anyway,
Wait, how many did you just hit? 20?
19,000.
Oh, 19, right.
Yeah. Fringy's like, oh, gotta make sure this guy didn't surpass me. I'm kidding.
Yes, that's right. No, I'm serious. No, I'm just kidding.
Between fighting off venomous snakes and dangerous platypus.
I love how Fringy.
Fringy takes time to think about how he doesn't need to be surpassed by you.
He's like, my focus right now is just trying to survive in my country.
I wish I was Australian, dude.
Yeah, no, I can't do that Australian accent worth shit. Like sometimes I'll pull it off.
Nobody can.
No.
Nobody can.
Nobody can.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody who isn't Australian who's done a good one.
Speaking of Australian mascots in video games, did you ever play a little series called Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, Fringy?
I heard of it, but I never played it. No.
You need to.
I remember seeing the box art in that.
Yeah, it's honestly they just it got a full remaster exclusively for the PC. It's on Steam. It's got like extra effects like dynamic particles and all that kind of shit. So it looks really nice. But I did a playthrough of that with a friend who grew up with the game series, and it's got a collectathon style to it with a bit of action and platforming, and I mean, if I were to be honest, it's mediocre at best. It's not amazing, but you have an Australian mascot.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes place in Australia. And it uses a lot of Australian mythology.
Do we have mascots?
What? Australian mythology, what?
Whatever we can call that.
Australian mythology?
Well, what are you talking about?
Remember, like, the Australians, like, with their boomerangs, they would enchant them with the spirits and stuff?
Oh, you're talking about Aboriginal people.
Oh, man.
People.
The people were there first.
I don't know much about Australia, so I'm just like, I'm winging it.
Oh, well, I don't know how many of them enchanted their boomerangs with spirits. But yes, I see what you mean, like Dreamtime stuff. Dreamtime is basically like their version of the creation of the world. Yeah. It's quite inaccurate and illogical, but that's fine. They're allowed to, yeah. Well, they're basically fables.
People care about Crocodile Dundee, dude.
Oh.
So,
can the Aborigines actually send lightning?
Oh, I don't know. This is the stuff that we had to learn, like in primary school, but I don't remember much of it, except for the rainbow serpent.
The rainbow serpent.
Oh, yeah, he was like a giant rainbow snake that sort of moved around and created mountains and stuff. That's the
Is the snake gay?
I think the snake was a dude, yes, but there was no other rainbow snake. He was the only one. So all alone in the world.
Okay.
Well, he was gay for the world. That's why he was swimming around in it.
So someone... Nemesis gave me an idea for some fan art, but jumping Gundam piloted by a kangaroo. So basically, a kangaroo piloting a giant Gundam.
I think he's referencing the White Dingo Squad, which was a Gundam video game and technically Australians in mobile suits. Also, I think God is gay because obviously he's an interior decorator. Look at the fucking planet and space and time. So take that, Christian.
Intelligent design.
Yeah, you've seen a straight guy put together an apartment? Well, come to my house. You'll vomit. What the fuck is this? That's some chemicals that got on the wall. I don't know how those got there. And also, as far as the Aboriginal people go, they like at least Fringy's Aboriginal people had something cool like a rainbow snake, man. Native Americans,
they're quite creative.
Yeah, that's creative. Like I just heard about how the world was built on a turtle's back in Native American lore. Nobody explains to me how it happened.
That sounds a lot like this world.
The thing about the Aboriginal Dreamtime stories, though, is that they all conflict because there were so many different tribes. So there are a lot of conflicting accounts of how the world was created and all this stuff. Like, there's literally thousands of different groups, so they're not the same. This is me showing my cultural knowledge that I learned from primary school.
The fact that we can look at the Aboriginals and go, oh, they're silly. They're little stories. Everybody has conflicting opinions. Yet we don't look at our religions now and have the same sort of logic.
I do. That's why I'm not religious.
I know you do. You're a superhero with a mask on. Obviously, you know what's up. You know if you actually help someone, it'll be a lawsuit.
You know.
Yes, I know.
Fringy, the minute you
did they select their leader by trial of combat?
I like.
What was that? What was that for Tango?
Oh, you know, sorry. People keep saying my mic is low, but you guys hear me fine. Anyway,
I can hear you. Yeah.
Anyway, I was saying.
Yes.
The minute you told me that your cartoon avatar is actually someone in a superhero costume and not an alien, my mind blew because for the past 3 years I thought you were always an alien.
Yes, a lot of people don't realize I have to find a way to convey it better.
So what does your character look like unmasked? Is he black?
Well,
definitely.
Well, yeah.
He's the Black Panther, secretly.
Is he black?
T'Challa.
T'Challa was living a secret life. He was not only the Black Panther, but the most important YouTube celebrity of all time.
Ooh.
Yeah. Fritanga's mic is very low.
It is?
Yes. I listened to the stream. It is very low.
No way.
Well, Fritanga could always turn the rest of us down in this.
No, it's not you guys. It's on mine.
Well, what about on OBS or whatever? Like, how high is your mic volume?
No, see, my mic volume on OBS it's hitting like the highest mark, and I have it turned up all the way.
Yeah, maybe you can amplify it like the boost, so you can make it 3 times louder or something in the settings. That's what I do
there should be a setting
usually.
for that.
No, in Discord, my mic's all the way up, and in OBS, it's all the way up, and in the Windows settings, it's all the way up. So if people are complaining, suck my balls.
And that's the end of the donations, children.
Whoops! I mean,
you're going to break a lot of headphones with that, Fritzanga. The Fritzanga moment talks is like very silent, and then Fringy is like boom,
boom. So I want to ask her, what have you guys been playing recently?
Rainbow Six Siege.
That game's fucking hard.
But before that, I was playing the Jack and Daxter trilogy.
Of course you were.
Mm-hmm.
Nostalgia core. You've been going back.
I played
a
Final
lot of
Fantasy
old
15
games.
for 2 minutes.
I only played Zelda Breath of the Wild recently.
Yeah,
that's because
you recently got a Switch, right?
Yeah, I got a Switch. But I only played it momentarily. I don't occasionally play it. Like I mostly just do videos. You can see it from my Steam library. The Vegas count for the count for the Sony Vegas playtime is much bigger than anything else.
You upload fairly frequently, which means a lot of work.
Makes me feel lazy. You make me feel
lazy. It does. It makes me feel like another day. It's like, oh, another off event video, and then I look at what I'm doing. And it's like, oh, it's been a month. It's been a month. No big rush.
So I work like an Indonesian.
Don't feel bad though. Don't feel bad. I don't get the chance to play a lot of games though. That's the sucky part.
That's the trade-off. Yeah, but it's doing well for you, isn't it? Like the channel's doing well in terms of just general viewership.
Oh yes, it's doing very well. But the thing is, in terms of games that I want to play, I've been recently bought Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Ooh,
and I'm stuck in the first level. I am literally stuck. Like basically, there was a quest in which I have to convince someone to hand over their axes and hammers. I convince him by basically asking my mates to beat him up. But doing so, I get a bounty from the guards. And then by the time I get the bounty from the guards, I need to pay some money. Unfortunately, my gold is 0, and I don't know how else am I going to get. I've basically spent my gold into another quest to get some flint. And then after that, I basically just said, well, I surrender myself to the jail. Okay, but then I surrender myself to the jail. Then there's a big cutscene pops in. And then the village was attacked. And then I thought, look at the cutscene. I thought it's pre-rendered and everything like that. And I was like, oh, I think the story's going to progress from here. Turns out I die.
Oh, wow.
So I have 0 idea how to progress from that. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to grab a trainer and just boost that gold. Fuck that shit.
It sounds like the way I do my playthrough of Zanashi and Skyrim. Except I don't have to die when I fuck up.
Yeah.
Okay, so
at least in Skyrim you can get away. They usually give you 1 lockpick in Skyrim in a jail.
Yeah, and I fuck it up every time. Then I spend the rest of the video screaming about how Nords are racist against Khajiits.
Yeah. Also, about Kingdom Come. What's with the limited saves? That's a load of BS.
It's supposed to be old school.
Just such BS.
It's supposed to be like one of those old school RPGs that was always difficult, you know?
Well, 1.3 is out. So
yeah, fuck that. I'll get a mod. I grabbed a mod for it.
Fuck that. Wait, are mods legal in your country?
No.
Yes, obviously. We're talking about this illegal and illegal in this country. We can go for ages, fam.
So, I don't know how the stream is doing. Tell me how my mic is now. I unplugged it and replugged it, but basically I've done everything I can do, you guys, so...
Okay, if you're on OBS, there is a gear right on the microphone that you have.
A gear?
You click that, and there's a filter.
A gear, I think.
I'm kidding. I'm such an asshole. Okay.
I know. There's a gear in your microphone input. There's filter.
Yeah.
And then you right-click it, add gain.
Okay, hold on. Filters, gain. Give me just a second. And I'm adding gain.
So while Fortenga does this,
and then
I'm going
just
to look
boost
at
it to at least 10 decibels.
10 decibels?
Yep.
Okay, they're 0.10 or like 10? Like
10.
Okay. 10. Tintin. Tintin's actually one of my favorite comics. I like Tintin. Okay. That was completely All right, there you go, guys. Like, I am like louder than I need to be. So if you guys still complain, I have a left nut sack.
They're all saying it's better.
And a right nut. They are? Okay, good. I'm going to listen back to the stream, and if I'm really quiet, I'm going to be really sad about it, because I've been looking forward to this stream for a while, and actually sometimes like...
And you planned it, but you still screwed it up.
Oh, Fringy, don't get me started on your superhero that screws up all the time. Come on.
Oh, jeez. You're tearing my heart asunder.
Oh, my God.
So... Sorry. My voice is a bit... Oh, Oppaben, what are your thoughts on the new ESRB ratings thing for loot boxes?
It's BS.
Of course.
It's BS. That's the best thing that I can say about it. It's absolute BS. Like they just, it's very vague. In-game purchases, which can also cover DLCs. It's a very umbrella term that doesn't really cover anything else. It's like, it's just weird. Like they treat people who are, you know, like for the Witcher DLCs, for example, they're pretty good. Like they treat that on the same level as Star Wars Battlefront 2's microtransactions. That's just a load of BS.
Well, they're trying to just appease the government. They're trying to appease uninformed parents. They're trying to get these legislators off their ass. So they're like, blanket statement. Everybody's under. You see now, it's all the same. It's all good.
It's all good and all. So basically, what I hate about this is it kind of creates this whole. It creates this whole idea for like parents who are buying games that, oh, in-game purchases, I see that on almost all the boxes because it's going to be on almost all the boxes. So they're not going to think it's a consequential thing. They're going to just buy the game anyway. And in-game purchases can mean anything. And since, like I said, most of the games they'll be buying for their kids are going to have that on the box, they're just going to shrug and buy it. And it doesn't help.
Unfortunately, that is assuming that the parents would actually read the freaking warnings in the ESRB.
Yeah, see, when I was growing up, and my mom, like I was telling these guys, my mom was religious, so she didn't let us play video games. But she was divorced from my dad, and my dad was also religious, but he knew he was a piece of shit father, so he was always trying to make it up to me by getting me stuff he really shouldn't.
I gotta ask this. I'm sorry.
Axe, yeah.
Why? Why were the video games bad?
So I remember when I was a kid, my mom sat me down with my brothers, and they put on this Hispanic Christian documentary thing talking about Doom, because Doom was like everywhere. All the parents were on the lookout for Doom, even though it was like 7 years after the release of Doom. It was still a phenomenal thing at the time, and I remember they sat me down, and they put it on, and they were telling us stories about like this kid, he played Doom. And apparently, like, the devil spoke to him and told him to burn down his house. And so he wrote it down on a letter, and then he put the letter under his computer and set the house on fire and killed himself. And apparently, the computer and the letter were the only things that weren't untouched. Or that demons would come out of the screen and they would tell the kids to do malicious things. And then the kids would go to the parents and say, Doom told me to do this. And I'm just
This is amazing. Can we get video of this?
This is just... you know what? Actually, I have the cassette tapes. I think I have like a special little thing where I can connect it to a PC and...
Dude, that would be a great YouTube video.
I should do it.
That's very strange. It's very strange that they attack Doom, because in here, they also basically don't let parents... They talk about how video games are like corrupting the people's minds. And back in the 90s or the early 2000s, I remember seeing a commercial of how Doom, like the very early Dooms, they're like corrupting the children's minds. And then they also show gameplay footage of Doom 3. Well, the problem with that is that Doom is about fighting demons from hell.
I was about to say, like, why would they not think that's a great game? You're literally killing demon spawn from hell.
Well, remember, guys, John Romero is actually Satan in that game, I believe, right? Like, his head's on the stick at the end of the game. Yeah. I'm going to read this.
Kind of like yours, Fritanga.
Hey! Oh. Well, you know, my original idea for my character was I was going to stick his head on a popsicle stick, but then I thought, that actually sounds kind of violent, so I put it up his ass instead. Woo! Anyway.
Now it's just sexual.
Now it's just sexual. I'm going to read two super chats real quick. Nemesis, $2. It's a Gundam. Jumping Gundam is from G. Gundam. What? What does that mean?
I thought we were talking about something deeper than G Gundam. Forgive me.
Foot Fungus Fred, $2. I drew you as an anime character. Now I have AIDS. and there's no cure for that. Oh. So there you go.
That doesn't happen to me though. Most people who draw me, they just fap to me.
Well, you're a weeboo. I mean, you like weeboo. Like, I don't know what. Thank God you stopped liking hentai, by the way, because sometimes I was at work and I'd open up my Twitter feed and then it would say Appa Ben like this, and there was a whole lot of like nudity and penetration.
Now
stuff.
I have to follow him unless it's stop.
Yeah, you should follow. You should follow up, Ben.
But that's very interesting thing about I don't like hentais anymore, or at least don't like them on Twitter. But I do follow hentai accounts, and then one of the hentai accounts watched my video, and it's like, wow, it's very weird that you followed me.
Well, you're putting up quality content. I had to support it.
Girls
with tentacles.
Oh God.
By the way, going back to Doom, when I was talking about how we're fighting demons from hell, and then I tuned into another channel on TV, and there's this show about a bunch of imams fighting demons from hell.
Oh God.
And I was like, whoa, wait. So you don't let games when do fight demons, that's bad, but when the imams do it, that's perfectly fine. I don't get it.
Yeah. So what were your? Okay, so you guys already know what my life was like growing up with video games. Like, I had a mom who wouldn't let us, but we'll start off with Fringy. What were your parents like with video games? Like,
yeah, I could play them. I just couldn't do it on weekdays.
Oh,
I mean, they didn't really like the games, but like, I was allowed to play them. But not on weekdays.
They would still buy them and everything.
I was actually on weekdays, as in Monday to
Friday. But on Friday, I can play.
I'm the same. I'm the same in that case.
I'm not the same now. Not now. I can play whenever I want.
Obviously. But back then, I was also the same thing. I can't play games Monday to Friday, specifically PS2 games. However, they put my PS2 in my room, which that means I can wake up at 3 a.m. and play the game right there.
Well, you're different to me. I had a TV in my room, but I still abided by the wishes of my mom to not play them.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Not a rebel. Then.
They're probably like to Appa Ben, you cannot play your game. You must go wash elephant first.
Oh my God.
Go wash the family elephant, then you can play your game. I'm sorry, that was incredibly offensive, but funny.
Yeah. As long as it's funny, you get away with it.
Oh, no, YouTube won't. I mean, I'm surprised. My most recent
demonetized.
My most recent video did not get demonetized at all. At all.
Yeah,
I was
mine
like,
as well.
Wow. I was like, is YouTube getting their shit together? Because this and my last video, the last video I did upload was demonetized before it was even published, but I submitted the review, and then it got remonetized, and then I published it. So I think YouTube's, I don't know if they're fixing things, but it's getting a little bit better. It's getting a little bit. I haven't even bothered.
Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about the demonetization thing, because YouTube, basically, if you unlist your video, and then you basically, if you upload the video and the state that it's not monetized, YouTube will basically just don't care about it. But if you unlist your video and then you monetize it, but then it got demonetized, if you submit a request, it will instantly be remonetized, because basically there's this rule that if it's a video that is unlisted, it was uploaded less than a minute ago, then it should be remonetized again, which is weird.
So it's like they know that their system doesn't work, so they have to come up with these stupid solutions.
By the way, Appa Ben, I did like your like the video you uploaded yesterday. The I just want to play Vidya. I like that video. That was pretty good. I've noticed that. I mean, it is hypocritical for people who always like demonized gamers to now be coming out and saying like they do care about gamers, because the other side.
Yeah, but that's because of Trump.
Yeah,
because Trump thinks video games are violent. The same people who said the same things
now
are saying the opposite thing.
Yeah, and
here's the magical thing, absolutely magical thing. What if Trump said video games are sexist?
Oh. Yeah.
Oh man, I can imagine the somersaults that they'd be pulling then.
Yeah. See, my mindset is that my mindset is that I don't care who is saying it. If anyone is saying games are the cause of gun violence, I just want to slap them with my dick because that is the stupidest shit ever. And
it is. It's a dumb argument. It's
like,
why do people keep saying it?
There's no study. Like, there's no study or research.
It's subterfuge.
And
those who are in power are the NRA and the gun companies, the gun manufacturers. They make a lot of money and they have millions upon millions of dollars invested in the GOP, invested in the government. Whatever they truly say will go. So we need a scapegoat. And there's no way in hell you're going to get the Republican Party to piss off the NRA, one of their biggest supporters. So they're going to go after video games. Quick, simple, easy. Look what it did for Nita Sarkeesian.
Well, the thing is, it's easy for them because the majority of Republicans are more likely to be older. Yes, that's right. And older people aren't as familiar with video games, so it's easy to tell them that video games are bad because they don't even know what they are.
Yeah, the point that I'm saying in my videos is that basically these people just don't understand video games. They don't understand video games. No. They fear what video games can do. That's why they just use them as scapegoats.
I think they know what's up, but they don't care. They're going to pass the buck to video games. Gun laws aren't going to change here in America, and we're going to get taxes on video games like fucking cigarettes and alcohol.
Oh man, I would be angry if I was over.
Man. You know, let's
to
not
the fucking consumer. When the game companies get that tax, they're going to go, well, we need to make up this lost revenue and taxes. More microtransactions. We'll get double fucked.
That could be the case.
I have experiences with government pulling taxes on anything digital related, and they're basically not very tech savvy to pull that sort of shit. Like, if they're going to pull on taxes and violent video games, I wonder how they can implement that on Steam. Like,
the digital market. Yeah, the digital market would be a little harder to work around for these guys, but it's
physical copies. The physical copies are going to be the ones that are being not only being taxed but also being destroyed by a bunch of kids.
Yeah, it's just, but like what Gundam says, do you think people in the office or the Republican side give a shit about these school shootings? No, it's not the school shootings that they're worried about. It's, like you said, the NRA.
They're worried about their fucking lobbyist money.
Yeah, that's what they're worried about. And
I am not. So, like, in the US, politicians get money from private companies.
Oh yeah,
to run their.
Yes.
That's so. Like, how can anybody justify that at all? Like, that's insane.
Right.
Listen, I've got my V for Vendetta costume ready the second the revolution comes. Don't look at me.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but Trump's campaign was funded over tens of millions by who was it?
I heard that his brother was the head of ZeniMax Media.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, jeez. Let me look that up.
It's just
the board of directors, apparently.
I mean, yeah, things here aren't all that swell. I mean, it's not swell everywhere. I mean, there's some places where.
Yeah.
Some places have it better, some places don't, but to say that we're the only ones with the shit is not true. It's not completely bad. Not completely bad here, but I mean, now Dwayne Johnson.
Perfect.
Yeah, now Dwayne Johnson's running for president, so I'm like, now it's getting bad.
Yeah, I mean, it is really kind of nuts though that it's now a thing where celebrities and like TV show hosts are running for presidency.
Well, that's why a lot of people consider Trump to be one of the most important candidates in history because he's going to lead that influence. He's going to be the start of it. And it's not about...
He can prove that anyone can be a president, including WWE stars.
I'm gonna lay the smackdown over the Constitution of the United States.
Anyone who has money and a catchphrase can be a fucking president.
Basically. Catchphrases have always been something presidents have. It started, I think catchphrases really started, I wouldn't say it started with Obama, but, I mean, his was...
No, this is before your time. We had Bush running around, no new taxes.
That's right. No, I was around the Bush times, yeah. But I was a kid, I didn't understand it.
And Reagan was an actor too before he became like the poster boy for all things Republican president.
Yeah, but he wasn't really known for his acting.
He was known for being an actor. He's just shit.
I just don't remember. Like, did people even remember his movies? Remember him from the TV? Because I can't think of a single Ronald Reagan movie.
Well, here's the thing. People now don't remember because they can't remember shit that hasn't happened in the past 2 years.
Fair enough.
You fucking say something about a song 3 years ago, they're like, "What's wrong with you? You whack." That was 2016. We all about that 2018 now, baby.
I actually am looking up Ronald Reagan's films that he did. He yeah, he did a few.
Name them. Let me see if I can remember something.
There was one called King's Row.
That was one of his bigger ones.
In 1942.
There was the one where like he was living with phantom limbs or some shit.
Huh.
Not sure. Oh wow, maybe that was the inspiration for Metal Gear Solid 5.
Has anybody had a chance to play Metal Gear Survive? I haven't. I have no interest. I don't know if anyone here has.
I haven't. No way.
I haven't, but my friend have. It's garbage. It's garbage.
It looks like garbage.
It's such a bad idea. Like, who was in the board meeting when they said, "Yeah, let's do this"?
Like it's not that it's mechanically garbage, because it's a lot of it is taken from Metal Gear Solid 5 anyway, and Metal Gear Solid 5, the shooting parts, the stealth parts, like I think they're competently well put together. It's just that the game is designed, it's boring. Like the way it was designed, it was boring, it was repetitive, and it doesn't feel worth it by all the way to the end. Like at least Metal Gear Solid 5, we can end up playing for like. For me, at least, it was like 40 to 50 hours to like beat the main campaign. But this one, it took me like 8 hours to 9. It's very short as well.
I think a lot of people, there was a huge amount of people that were displeased with Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's me.
Yeah, it's because it wasn't finished.
Yeah, that's my problem with the game. Yeah. But what was already there was so good. Like just the gameplay itself. I mean, this is probably the first time Metal Gear's gameplay, took front stage over the storytelling, which was unusual for a lot of people. A lot of people played Metal Gear because the storytelling was strong and the gameplay was okay.
Well, look, I'm going to be a bit controversial here. Based on what little I've seen, the writing in Metal Gear Solid is very condescending and on the nose. Like it doesn't.
Okay, I have played Metal Gear Solid 3. The first Metal Gear Solid. I've watched all of the cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid 4. I played Metal Gear Rising, so I know about Metal Gear Rising, and Metal Gear Solid 5 has significantly toned down the obnoxiousness of the writing.
Oh yeah, to me it was like, hey, this isn't too bad. But when I watch cutscenes from 4, it's like they have to expressly state the themes of the story.
Yeah,
like here's the themes of the story. Let's have a political discussion about the themes of the story. Oh, what do you think, Solid Snake? The man who was a clone and who is now dying of old age. What is your opinion on all of this? It's like, it's just so on the nose, like it's not subtle at all. It's so upfront and blatant. I can't believe it. It's
like a conspiracy theorist buff. I like the Metal Gear stories. Because they were at least dancing around the subject of the shit that's going on with military, Black Ops, DARPA, etc. A lot of the shit that was in Metal Gear is actually a thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool... Like, I don't think the story is bad at all. I think it's actually quite interesting. My problem is that the writing is very wonky to me.
Yeah.
It's so blatant.
Okay, the thing is, because I love Metal Gear Solid 3. I think Metal Gear Solid 3's story is the best out of all of them, and Metal Gear Solid 3 in general is just a great game. And the thing is, the story, it would have been so much better if the tone wasn't so off. Like, it goes back and forth between so overly seriously dramatic, and then there's like a big giant robot shooting everybody, and then I just can't. There's some elements in Metal Gear Solid I just can't take seriously. Like, there are some people that do though, which is weird, because Metal Gear Solid 4 has this character that poops a lot.
Yeah, no, yeah. I remember that. Like he'd be taking a shit, and like Snake's like, "Get out of here!" and the guy's like running away, holding his ass cheeks.
Which is like,
and he somehow got the best girl.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Fringy.
Yeah, he got Meryl in
right. Okay, I've seen that dude in cutscenes because like I've only ever been able to look up cutscenes. I don't have the other Metal Gear games, but I know that 3 had a really good ending. I know that 3 had like a really good.
Like I
3's ending is fantastic.
Yeah, I don't like to be like smarky or anything like that, but sorry, there's kids screaming in my backyard and I want to shoot them. Anyway, so I was
DSP Tinga.
Well, it's easy to get a gun around here, so I'll go handle that real quick. But anyway,
where the hell do you live?
I live in Oregon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You
So
guys-
I live where Barry lives and where Jeff Holiday lives. Actually, Jeff Holiday lives like 5 minutes away from me. But
The Pacific Northwest seems like a really cool place to live, honestly. Like just the landscape.
I love it here. I honestly do, but it's easy for a lot of people to get depressed because of the climate. But the summers here are the best summers you can get. Anyway, as I was saying,
What were you saying? Yeah.
I don't want to sound like smarmy or anything like that, but if you've pretty much watched the cutscenes to Metal Gear Solid, that's like the past games, that's really all you need, because growing up, I did not like playing those games. I thought the gameplay was okay. Like those games, the gameplay to those games were never really, there was nothing, like the levels weren't memorable. The boss fights, especially the boss fights in the Metal Gear Solid games, were always so bleh. Just bleh. Like especially the final fight. Go ahead.
The thing about the Metal Gear Solid game, the Metal Gear Solid 3 alone in the PS2, you need to like press 3 trigger buttons to shoot. 3.
Why do that?
One.
Why make it like that?
Yeah, you have to hold R1 to aim your gun. R1 to go to first person, R2 to aim the gun, and then square to shoot. And then L2, I forgot what L2 is. It's like you press a lot of buttons to basically shoot a gun. There was this on-rail section in Metal Gear Solid 3 in which you were in a freaking motorcycle, and you need to shoot a bunch of guys, but the camera stays in third person, so you have to manually pick it in first person with the R1 button. And by the time you put R1 button, and then you have to aim the gun R2, and then you have to hold it hold it again and press square to fire. I was like, why can't we just press one button to shoot? It's so much easier.
Yeah,
the game is stupid.
Yeah, but when I picked up Metal Gear, I mean, and a lot of people, when I tell them that Metal Gear Solid 5 is my favorite Metal Gear Solid game, they always like shoot me this look like, nigga, are you crazy? And I'm like, no, really, I really like Metal Gear Solid 5 mainly because there was hours of gameplay instead of hours of cutscenes, and I don't mind cutscenes, but there's so many moments in Metal Gear Solid 4 where the cutscenes were so long and they would drag out. I was thinking,
well,
Kojima,
there was 7 hours of cutscenes at least in that game.
Yes.
Yeah, it was insane. It was insane.
I mean, Christ.
Yeah, and
here's the thing: Metal Gear Solid 5's gameplay is a lot like Metal Gear Solid 4, except Metal Gear Solid 5 has all this extra shit you could do, and 4 was kind of linear in design. There's like this whole open world. You can find interesting ways to kill people.
That's what the main big change Kojima really made was just, instead of narrowing it down to a linear gameplay, make it open sandbox, and somehow it really did change the gameplay, like especially
Oh yeah, of course it does though.
The way you would approach the situation. But at the same time, a lot of people, when they heard that it was going to be open world, they were thinking it was following the open world trend. But no, I think because Metal Gear Solid 5 was in production for many years. Hell, if to this day, if Konami did not let Kojima go, I think he would still be working on Metal Gear Solid 5 right now, honestly.
Yeah.
But what I think is, I already lost track of what I was going to say. I was on something.
You know what sucks about 5? So the fact that it wasn't finished, which makes me wonder what it would have been if it was. Because it was during the time when Russia was fighting the Al-Qaeda. And there's no FBI agents there teaching Al-Qaeda members how to fight. There's a whole litany of story that could have been there that centers around terrorism and 9/11 that could have worked right in there perfectly. That just was absent. There's this war going on, but you never see anybody at war. It's just you sneaking around the desert, sniping some motherfuckers, and then they tell stories about how you put some bastard to sleep in a chokehold a mile down the damn road.
Well, like, the problem here, though, is, I mean, if he's been working, at least 5 years. They were working on this game for at least 5 years, possibly more. Like, how much time can you give somebody before you have to say, nah, come on, you gotta release this game?
Yeah,
you know, like, it should
need to come out, dude. That was like 10 years.
Yeah, but I mean, like, eventually the game's got to come out. Like, people keep throwing Konami under the bus, and that's fair because they've done a lot of really bad things. But can you blame them for saying, "Look, you've been working on this for 5 years. It's cost us like $100 million. You got to release this game."
No,
if I was working at Konami, I would have said, "Give him time."
No,
give it to him. It's the only thing keeping us alive.
Because then it's too expensive.
Yeah, no, I'm with Fringy on this one. I am with Fringy on this one. I don't like choosing companies, but if you're in the position of Konami and you have this game that you've been hyping for the past 5 to 6 years, and it's a series that's so big, and I mean, Metal Gear is a series bigger than Kojima himself, and they're going to choose the series over Kojima.
Well, let's look at what happened with their new idea to rush something out. What have we got? Metal Gear Survive. Good work, company.
Yeah, but when it's Metal Gear Solid 6, people will buy it.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's not Kojima, people will buy it. But as well, it's important to remember that Kojima was the VP of Konami when he got fired. Like, he wasn't just some lonely developer. He was one of the main guys at Konami. So there's clearly something else that happened there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot that we don't know about. And to say that there was no fault on... that one side was totally in the wrong is illogical. There's no way that there wasn't something else that would have caused the split to happen.
Yeah, currently I'm a little skeptical on what Kojima is going to do with Death Stranding.
Wow, yes.
Because
I'm interested to see it. I'm
interested because Kojima has this way of being able to capture people's attention with the otherworldly, the odd, the unusual kind of stuff, and that will always catch their attention. But apparently, like, there's staff members that don't even know what the gameplay is about.
Yes.
Exactly.
Like, they've even said, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm kind of like, you know, a little hesitant because the recent trailer that they showed us looked like a huge graphical downgrade from the first trailer we saw, and
but then again, it's the color is so much gray. It's so much gray in there. The first trailer was a bit dark, so which is why you can't really see it. But the second trailer was pretty bright.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that is true.
My main thing is I'm not really sure what the game is, and it's been 2 years.
It's gonna be another. Yeah. It's gonna be another 2, Fringy. It's gonna be another 2.
It got announced too early.
Fuck this.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm interested, but like, what is the game about? Like, what's it about? What do I do in it?
The thing is,
the thing about Kojima is that you slap him in anything, and I would be very interested. Like the last time when his name popped up in the Silent Hills teaser, like I was interested. Like Kojima and Del Toro is working, and then you have
Norman
Reedus working in there. Like, it's interesting. Like I can't wait.
It's a fucking money
it's
pit.
hype, but then they fucked it up.
Here's the thing. A lot of fans of Kojima don't seem to realize, but the guy is a huge, basically, all these companies have piggy banks, right? And they will always have to break their piggy banks for Kojima. That's something a lot of fans of this don't realize is Kojima, he costs millions to make a game. And he takes his time. He's a perfectionist, and that's fine, but he's more of a perfectionist with storytelling than anything else. If I were Sony, I would not put Kojima as the main director to a game. I would just put him as basically the person to build the concepts, not the person to direct the game, because when Kojima directs, Kojima costs money, he takes time, the product doesn't get out soon enough. And I mean,
The problem is he thinks he's a film director of epic proportions, and this is coming from someone that's been drinking the Metal Gear Kool-Aid for years. I bought the Zone of the Enders games just because his name was fucking on it, and I don't care what anyone says. Zone of the Enders suck cock, and I'll stand by. You can put it on my fucking tombstone. Zone of the Enders fucking suck. I bought it because Kojima's name is on it. Here's what I think of this new Death Stranding. Obviously, he's aiming for something in space. And I'm assuming that the beings that the humans interact with in space exist in another dimension, in the sense of they might be from the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 8th dimension, and our minds are only capable of perceiving things in the 3rd dimension. Therefore, the aliens are almost unperceivable, or what little they can see of them seems godlike and omnipotent. On top of that, since we are corporeal beings that live in a linear state of time, it would also lead to suggest that these beings have some sort of higher functionality in the mental region, meaning that they have some sort of telepathy and control over other beings of lesser intellectual ability. Therefore, it'll probably work into the game somehow. People are being turned into puppets for war, and there's this whole thing that even death is not really something that affects them, almost like the Q from Star Trek. And after watching that, I thought, this is a convoluted mess that's trying real hard to be super deep, and I'm not even going to bother commenting because people will tell me I don't understand it. and I don't have the time to tell these assholes, go fuck yourself. Come back to me when you understand Heisenberg's uncertainty theory, you uncultured swine.
Well, the thing is, like,
where did you read that?
anybody who says they understand this is lying. You don't.
Exactly.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
Nobody does, because we don't know anything. Like, we've seen 3 trailers that show...
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering at this point, I mean...
He probably wakes up like I have a new idea.
They shouldn't have announced it yet. I mean, because this game's not coming out in 2018. I would be surprised if it even comes out in 2019, to be honest.
I think people should set their calendar for 2020. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly,
around that time.
But that's a long time. That's 5 years. That's a long time to wait for a game.
Honestly, if I was
Time flies.
if I were the people managing the budget for these games, I would look at Kojima and I would actually be very strict with his budget, because I mean, a video game doesn't really need Norman Reedus, doesn't really need Del Toro. It doesn't need these kinds of things. Basically, what I criticize other companies for, recklessly spending their money on, I'm also holding Kojima reliable, because I mean,
well, he's
accountable.
It's his job, his responsibility.
It's his job, his responsibility. But do we really need Norman Reedus? Do we need Del Toro? I mean,
do you need that money pit and people who aren't proven video game actors?
I'm not really sure about the budget though, because apparently
It's gonna be high.
I did. Yeah, it's going to be high, but Metal Gear Solid 4's budget was 60 million, and then
Really?
Metal Gear Solid 5's Metal Gear Solid 5's budget was 80 million. If Kojima is a perfectionist,
it's higher than that. No way. No.
yeah, I don't believe it's that
yeah,
high. Yeah, I believe it's
Apparently.
higher.
apparently it was 80 million, and then if that is true, then Rockstar is an even bigger perfectionist.
Well,
Yeah, but
Rockstar,
Rockstar can afford to spend $260 million on Grand Theft Auto 5. Because that game made billions of dollars.
Here's
that
the
made
thing,
billions.
I don't think there's people who play GTA 5 and they don't think to themselves, those millions were worth it. Because, I mean, think those millions weren't worth it. Because I think there are moments where you invest that money to get, I mean, video games cost money, that's, obvious. And to get things like, for instance, when you're playing Uncharted, when you get all these set pieces that move in action, like this bridge is breaking and you're running across it and you gotta jump, or like the opening scene to Uncharted 2, if you guys remember that one.
Yeah.
I remember that so much. I remember the opening scene to Uncharted 2. I'm like, wow, that must have cost a shit ton. See, when there's little glimpses of that, you can justify where the money was put. And I think GTA 5, the millions that they put into creating the city with so many moving IPs and all that kind of stuff, it worked out for the best. It worked out for the best, but managing money with Kojima right now, I'm just cautious. Like, honestly, I don't think Kojima is this great man people always think he is. I honestly don't think so. I think the guy is reckless with companies' money and time, and I think
like the legend has finally just gone too far.
Yeah, I think Sony's gonna realize that when this game doesn't come out, because Sony's like, we're gonna give him all the time, all the resources he needs. And I'm like, no.
Either it doesn't come out, or it's gonna come out and it's not gonna do very well.
I mean, you remember The Last Guardian? People were waiting for that game for nearly 10 years.
Oh god!
Look how it came out.
God.
Look all the money that was put into it. Everything. I mean, it was canceled a couple of times, I believe. So
Yeah.
I mean, all these people who are perfectionists. Honestly, your perfectionist excuse can only go so far for so long before I have to put my foot down and be like, look, this isn't your money. Come on.
By the way, I'm gonna come
the last time of like a big game developer like spend way too much money on their games, like it's going to be done like it's last time I know about that is from Daikatana.
Daikatana! I remember Daikatana on the Nintendo 64, right?
Was it? I think that was 2001, I think.
Yeah.
That was like such a big deal, and it was such a huge it was on Windows and N64.
But yeah,
the N64 is even worse.
The N64 version is really bad. But no, it's just companies like Rockstar, you can tell there's the budget that's being put into Red Dead Redemption 2 is huge, but but they're squeezing out every little penny from that big budget. You know, they're not just.
Here's the thing, honestly, like Rockstar let me down with GTA 5, and I hope the same
what? Really?
for Red Dead.
How?
GTA 5, as far as like gameplay wise, was a step back.
You think
from
so?
GTA 4? Oh yeah.
I think the physics were,
video. The physics were a huge step back. I remember playing GTA 5, crashing into something, thinking I'm gonna fly out the window, roll down the street, and get all fucked up. It's gonna be hilarious. Then I crash and I sort of seep out of the window like bad semen out of your dick from a bad jerk-off session. And I just lazily roll out the window on the hood. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? There was like so much they stripped from there. I didn't even find the story that interesting either, to be honest.
No,
the only way I could play GTA 5 is if it's modded.
I think GTA 5's story was a little let down for me. It didn't feel like there was a set goal or enemy. I mean, the ending to GTA 5 was so... It was just there, you know, it came and went, the ending of it. You figured that everything you were doing in the game was going to lead to a payoff. But literally the last mission of GTA 5 was incredibly disappointing to me. I'll admit that, but it's all the side missions with the individual characters that GTA 5 just, I think that's what they excelled at, and not necessarily the main story. And to me, the most interesting character in GTA 5 was Michael. The dynamic with his family.
Yeah, I like Michael as well.
Yeah, I thought the most boring character, and call me racist, but the most boring character was Franklin. Like, there's like nothing unique to Franklin.
I liked Franklin, but he didn't get enough of an opportunity to be honest. He was. I liked him because he was the straight man of the whole like trio. He was the guy who like saw everything for how ridiculous it was.
Okay,
and he was always very like. You know, he's always very dismissive about what's going on. I usually like characters like that. But, yeah, he didn't get enough of an opportunity because the main dynamic was between Michael and Trevor because they had the history. And Franklin was the third wheel.
Yeah, no.
I'm worried about, like, Red Dead Redemption simply because Rockstar knows they could put out a game and it could have less of a world to interact with. It could have less physics. It could have a whole lot from the last Red Dead Redemption. Still sell well, and they'll have microtransactions, and you know what's coming.
I don't think Rockstar would do that though. Like,
Rockstar has high quality. No, but they have a quality bar that they have to. That there's an expectation that it has to be like the greatest game ever.
I think Rockstar has too much of a legacy, and Rockstar really cares about their legacy.
Yeah, that's the reason why they don't pump out endless sequels.
Yeah.
I mean, this took 8 years. They could have made a new one very quickly, but they chose not to.
Yeah.
Because they understand that if you oversaturate the market, people won't buy your games anymore. It's the reason why... Well, it's the reason why Grand Theft Auto 5 is like one of the best-selling games of all time, but Halo 5 is the worst-selling of the main Halo series.
That game was garbage. That game was 4 hours long, I believe.
Well,
it was. This campaign was terrible.
Get happy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but I mean, if they keep butchering the story, you know, like I'm just so upset about what they've done with the story.
I used to love.
It's already butchered anyway.
Yeah, I cared so much about the Halo series when I was younger because I had a friend who had an Xbox, and I'd go over and we had dumped about 800 hours. I swear to God, in that game, just mainly playing deathmatch, like just the hours. I remember there's moments I had where one of my friends was running at me with a gravity hammer, and there was I think it was a ghost in front of me, and I was running to the ghost, and he hits the gravity hammer at the ghost launches into me, there's a rock behind me, and the ghost and the rock splatter me in the middle, and like even the game said splattered, and I was like, holy fuck. My mind was blown. Or there was this moment my friend was rushing at me in a Banshee. I had a sniper rifle. I jumped above him, quick scoped down at his head, and shot him right on top of his head as he was passing under me. And it was those moments, you know, those are memorable moments. But the single player campaign was just as great with those games. It wasn't one is good and one isn't. It was both of them formed together to create an amazing game. And
isn't it sad though?
Yeah, it is sad.
He has become.
Halo 5 didn't even have couch co-op or split screen.
No, it didn't.
So it's like you get less and less, every iteration. But Rockstar is one of those companies that hasn't really gone down that road. They've given... I mean, I can guarantee you Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to probably...
Well, let's look at it from this perspective. Okay. If they're not giving less and less, notice how this is like the first GTA in a while that had no DLC as far as single player.
Right,
everything has been focused on online and microtransactions.
Yeah, but there's been online free updates. So,
huge expansion.
Yeah, because they're making all the money from the microtransactions.
Right, but I mean, that's not bad. I mean, if I don't have to pay for microtransactions and I get free content, like that's not...
Yeah, okay. Now, there is a thing, though, and that is Rockstar. Right. That is GTA 5 Online is garbage. I'm sorry, but it's fucking garbage.
I haven't played much of it, so I couldn't tell you.
It doesn't work half the
time. Yeah. It's trash.
I put 300 hours into 400 hours into the online and the other like 50
if you
hours.
If you haven't contracted cancer, I'd see a doctor if I
know. Here's the thing. I wanted to like write a huge video about why GTA 5 Online sucks. I wanted to be controversial about it because I wanted to really invest hours, see what all the fuss was, because a lot of people were into it. A lot of people were into the shark cards. A lot of people said that it had content. And I think so many of those missions are so repetitive. Roaming around the city, you cannot enjoy it unless you're in ghost mode, because people will fuck you up. They'll fuck your car up. Even if there's consequences to it, they'll still do it. There's a lot of hackers on the console and PC version, mind you. I remember on the console version, I saw a lot of hacking. PC version, there's people with money guns shooting money at each other, and it's like, well, here I am, my character working hard, trying to do as many missions as I can to earn the money to buy a stupid fucking car.
Oh my god.
And the missions are so lackluster and boring. It's basically...
And the payout is shit. It's made to basically force you to buy microtransactions. Yeah. A lot of people do.
It's basically GTA 5, the MMO. It's grindy, it's boring, there's no substance to it. Sometimes you'll get cutscenes, but those cutscenes aren't even interesting. And the fact GTA 5 never got DLC alongside that really shows that Rockstar wanted to put a lot of focus into the multiplayer aspect of their games.
Because that's where the money was.
And I do think
don't forget that they, the parent company, put a block on Open 4 because people were playing a modded version of GTA without going online and buying microtransactions. Like, they started to lose money on the shark cards and immediately laid the hammer down. And they didn't expect the entire community to backlash, and then they stepped back. Like, the game plan is money, any way you want to slice it. And I think that the next Red Dead Redemption is going to follow suit because they made billions.
Yeah, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to have a huge online multiplayer focus as well. And I don't think it's going to get Undead Nightmare like the original Red Dead Redemption did, if you remember that DLC. I don't think we're gonna get that.
Because zombies has been dead for years now. The zombie trend.
It has. The fact that Call of Duty
isn't letting go, though.
The fact that Call of Duty keeps trying to reignite the zombie scene is ridiculous.
Nazi zombies, it's back again for the billionth time.
I can see why Valve. I think Valve killed the zombie genre for me.
Did you hear that Valve are making new games?
Yeah.
Sure.
They said that they have games in actual development.
I'd believe you more if you said you were white than if you said that.
Well, let's just see here. Look, let me bring up the article. This is what Gabe
Can you link it in the Discord? I gotta check this out myself.
So what he said, quote, was, Artifact is the first of several games that are going to come from us.
What?
Oh, no.
Wait,
that's sort of good news. Hooray, we're going to start shipping games again.
Oh, by the way, I freaking loved that Artifact trailer. The live reaction from everybody was like, Valve making new game, and then it's like Artifact, a Dota 2 trading card game, and everybody on the other is like, oh,
damn, that's
the funniest thing I've seen.
That is rough.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is rough. Nintendo, and this was shown at Nintendo Direct.
No, it's not the Nintendo Direct. It's been a while, fam. It's like last year or last 2 years.
No, I mean, they're to that point where they don't really have to work for their money anymore. I mean,
because they've got Steam.
They're hosting the biggest platform, the biggest digital distribution platform.
Yeah,
like they don't have to get money.
And I don't want to be like one of those people that likes to let companies sit by lazily, but they kind of paid their dues, and if they don't feel like making new games, whatever, that's fine. At least keep being, the digital marketplace that you are, and you're fine with that. But we would like to see Half-Life 3.
Yeah, we would love to see it. That's.
Well, don't forget Microsoft might buy them.
Ooh. There's no way Microsoft. No way. Valve
costs so much money.
No, yeah. There's no way Valve would sell themselves.
Like, do you think making tons of videos with that shit?
There's no way Valve would ever sell themselves. I'm sorry.
I mean, why would they do that? They're making so much money now. I mean, would it be worth it to get a whole bunch of money now instead of continue making billions?
I mean, look at it right now.
Yeah. The success of Xbox One exactly make me think that Microsoft is going to buy Steam.
Yeah, I mean, let me bring it off to you, right? So, Valve's total equity right now is $2.5 billion, which means they would have to pay a lot more than $2.5 billion to acquire them, because that also has to account for, money that...
Yeah.
And Gabe Newell owns over 50% of Valve, so ultimately it would be his call. And would he trade off making a whole bunch of more money to make a little bit more money? I mean, he's already worth $6 billion. Why would he not want to keep making money? He doesn't need just a little bit now. By comparison, it doesn't make sense. Anybody who even looked into it would be like, I don't know about that.
We all know Crap Gamer got a boner.
You know what is bizarre? You know what is bizarre? I had this thought that Disney is going to buy Valve because Disney buys everything.
Okay, Disney maybe. Disney
never speak that again.
Disney could buy
That's more believable. That's more believable to me that Disney would buy them.
I know it's bizarre. It's bizarre, but it's believable. Like there is a chance like Disney buys everything now.
Man, I don't want to think of Disney buying anything else.
Ooh, no. Netflix makes a Valve series. they make a series of documentaries on Gabe Newell. So Gabe, what was dieting like? It wasn't very pleasant. Well then, I think Valve and Steam, a lot of people say that the future of games is these streaming boxes, and I think Valve would just adapt to that so well if that ever happened. And I think, hell, they'd probably be at the top if they adapted to it, but I don't really want to see games going down that direction. Personally.
I mean, it depends, because it's like, it means if your internet just drops out, then you can't play the game.
Yeah.
And you don't own any games at all if you do it that way.
And most of the world isn't even there yet, where... a lot of people don't. It's hard for a lot of people to believe, but the majority of the world does not even have usable internet. The majority of the world doesn't.
In America,
that's true.
Yeah, here in the United States, states like Montana and places like that, they don't have internet that you would consider all that great or usable, to be honest. And in Alaska, there's a Blockbuster in Alaska that's thriving because their internet's not good enough to stream. So
yeah,
it's
that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
That's very depressing.
You'll never forget it.
Well, I mean, we did fine without internet for many years, but it's like one of those huge assets to humanity right now that we're actually better with it than without it.
We could not live without the internet. As stupid as the average person is.
Well, the thing is,
Google went missing, man. Do you know how many people would be bothering me on a regular basis? I'd be in jail for murder.
Well, the thing is, it's the internet. I think the internet's one of those things that we're better with than without. Sure, you got people who abuse it. You got people who are addicted to it. You have people that don't do anything else, or people get all their information from
Dark Side Phil.
Dark Side Phil. It came to existence because of it. But at the same time, it's where a lot of you need it for marketing, you need it for businesses, you need it for...
It is the future.
It's the future, and people saw it back in the 90s, and all these TV broadcasting stations were trying to kill it, and there still are. Nobody wants to let TV die. I'm just take TV to the back, put a bullet in its head, and just let it go. TV
I still
is
like
dead.
TV shows, but not watching them on the TV itself.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I've been like binge watching The Sopranos, and I can see how people would have like crowded around their TV back in the early 2000s for that, because that show is fucking phenomenal. And Better Call Saul right now is like the best thing I've seen on TV in years.
Mr. Robot's really good as well. Yeah. Mr. Robot's great.
But I watch Better Call Saul. I like go on this website called Putlockers, and I just watch it there. Yeah.
See, I don't watch Sopranos.
Speaking of streaming, I just recently watched Jessica Jones season 2, and
so did I.
Boy, it was bad.
It was really a mess. Jessica Jones is one of the Marvel Netflix shows, like Daredevil,
those things.
Luke Cage.
I thought personally, Punisher wasn't very well either. I thought Punisher was horrible.
Daredevil is the best of them all, and I know I'm biased because Daredevil is my favorite comic book character, but the shows are freaking awesome. And what can be said for him is that both of the seasons are great, whereas Jessica Jones had one great season and one season. Luke Cage had one great half season and one really bad half season. Iron Fist was just sort of average, and The Defenders was a mixed bag. Defenders was really a mixed bag of highs and lows.
The thing about the Defenders is that it gives you the Defenders, like nothing more, nothing less. Right. It's Defenders. Yeah,
the issue is that they sort of didn't develop the Hand as well as they should have, because the Hand is a really important force. The Hand are basically the arch enemy of Daredevil and Iron Fist. Yeah, but they didn't really get into him as much as they should have, because they were focusing on all these other side plots. Yeah. But Jessica Jones season 2, some of the characters they've made totally irredeemable at this point, just to where it's like they're terrible.
Even the main character, even like she is questionable. Like she's like the end of the series.
She basically emboldens a mass murderer. And sort of seems to believe that even though this person has killed several people and really doesn't deserve to be alive anymore, that due to some factor that I won't spoil, that she needs to keep protecting this person or trying to help them, even when she witnesses a murder before her very eyes of an innocent person who's done nothing wrong, but she doesn't exist now. But still, that's not a good enough reason to put this person down.
By the way, I consider Jessica Jones season 2 to be just a cringe fest of enjoyably bad, just bad. There's so many cringe moments in the series. It's like, just take a shot every single time you listen to anything social justice related. I am not kidding. There are tons of them.
It became more apparent that it was more apparent this season to me. I heard a lot about it in the first season, but I was like, I'm not seeing that. But this time it was like, there were a lot of times where it was especially with Trish's character, who was totally destroyed, absolutely destroyed.
Damn.
She is the worst character in this show now. Which sucks because I liked her before, but not anymore. She enables a drug addict to potentially become addicted to another drug again, which is a really bad thing to do. Actually, we can't say anymore.
She's turned into a villain, actually.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, basically.
Everything bad that happens is her fault. Everything bad that happens is her fault. She makes it worse. She makes everything worse.
Me and Gundam are sitting here like, fuck, we're out of touch.
Oh man.
Well,
I took one look at Jessica Jones' little trailer on Netflix. I'm like, not interested. You tricked me with fucking Iron Fist.
Season 1 was great. Yeah. Season 1 was really good. I guess they were always going to have trouble because Kilgrave was such a great villain.
The thing is, like, Netflix is like on desperation mode. Where like, pump out as many shows as you can right now.
Yeah, they are releasing a lot of shows,
and a lot of them are horrible.
Yeah,
like a whole.
Well, the issue was there used to be this standard that Netflix only made good shows. Mm-hmm. That's not the case anymore. Like they have some bad shows.
And
they've let their guard down for a lot of shows.
Well, the issue is they're doing too much now. They seem to do more shows than a lot of networks do.
Yeah.
And then they start making these movies. Bright and the Cloverfield Paradox are shit.
The Cloverfield Paradox, yeah. I heard that was horrible. I heard the Cloverfield
It wasn't meant to be a Cloverfield movie. It was its own thing, and then J.J. Abrams decided to make it something else. And it shows.
Yeah. did anyone actually watch 21 Cloverfield Lane? Or I forgot that's
10 Cloverfield Lane.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Seen it. I haven't seen it, but it's good.
How does
people tell me that it's good.
Apparently it's really good, but then
does it actually tie in? Does it actually tie in?
It wasn't meant to be a Cloverfield movie. It was meant to be its own standalone thing too.
Damn.
Both of the sequels weren't meant to be Cloverfield movies.
You know,
yeah, but the thing is, the thing about 10 Cloverfield Lane is that the thing that was meant to be its own thing, the actual thing is actually pretty good, but it's not. It's different to the Cloverfield Paradox, which is not good.
Yeah.
Wow. No. Yeah. I remember when the original Cloverfield came out, and it was like a sensation, and everybody was telling me, "You got to go watch it."
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I went to watch it, and I was younger, and I thought it was like. First, it did make me dizzy, like every documentary-based movie does. But there was like. Just I think what caught people's attention was the mystery behind it, rather than the actual movie. You know, a lot of people are like, "Where'd this monster come from?"
It was really cool, and the found footage thing back then was really. It was popular, the same reason Activity became popular.
Yeah, you know which wasn't.
You
know which wasn't good though. I think when it came to documentary movies, there was a period where people wanted to try them out, but like the Blair Witch Project really killed the idea because. Blair Witch Project was horrible, but then it really took off with like Cloverfield and Paranormal Activity. But then Paranormal Activity just
they sold out.
Paranormal Activity turned into Saw.
Yeah, I remember watching it and the way it was shot and the way the actors were so good at acting like it wasn't a movie. You know, they just played their everyday lives out. It felt realistic and. I remember sitting in the theater and it got quiet and they were laying in bed and you hear the swinging in their downstairs bedroom and all of a sudden you hear like the demon like roar and fall and hit the ground and runs. That freaked the shit out of me when I first watched that. I was like, this is shit.
Apparently there's a 12 Monkeys TV show.
Really?
Why would you need to make a TV show on 12 Monkeys?
I want Captain Caveman back. Captain
Caveman.
But then again, they made a Lethal Weapon TV show. What a bad idea!
No way! They made a Lethal Weapon.
What a bad idea! What a terrible idea!
Wow.
Because Lethal Weapon, I love Lethal Weapon. The film series. I know like 3 and 4 aren't as good as the first two, but I still really enjoy them. But like, how could you translate that into a television show?
No.
Desperation.
Yeah, desperation.
But why? Why?
Because Hollywood is bankrupt of ideas.
I mean, honestly, the thing is, I usually don't watch much in the movies that isn't a Quentin Tarantino movie or that isn't a... Actually, mainly just a Quentin Tarantino because he's just been on fire the majority of his career.
He's one of the best.
Yeah, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill... You know,
Pulp Fiction, the television series.
No way, you're joking.
No, I'm joking.
Okay,
I'm joking.
I would have ended this stream right here. Like, fuck this shit. Anyway, $1.99 from 57i. Your mom gay. Oof. Ouch. Ooh. What about your dad? Huh? No. Okay. Anyway, guys, I think I've run out of like topics at hand. My head's just like these streams never go as planned. They never will.
That's alright, but I mean, it's been 2 hours, but we've gone through a lot of stuff.
It's just been such a great stream.
Yeah, no, it has. I love doing these sorts of things.
I'm about to go to college too in about 40 minutes from now. So.
Wait, okay. Appa, with your height, you could just be a security guard at your college campus. You don't have to study.
Yeah.
How tall is he?
Actually, no. The thing about my height is that I'm 6 foot, but there are some of my friends who are like 6'3".
I'm 6'5".
What the what? How tall are you, Gundam?
What? I'm 5'11", I'd say.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm the tallest here. Sorry, guys.
I'm like 5'8".
And the thing is, I'm in the college. I'm like the youngest in the college because I went to some sort of an acceleration program in like the high school. So I basically go to 2 years of high school instead of 3. I was the youngest, and I was pretty tall. I was pretty tall even to everybody's standards in there. It's weird.
Well, a lot of people mistake me for older than I am. Like, a lot of people think I'm older than I am just based on the voice and the height. It's odd.
Well, nobody would figure you're even
30.
No one would even figure you're black either. Like, I mean,
no, I know, but that's because of the accent.
Right? It's like the thing is, you're in the United States.
Become a superhero.
Time I thought it was a joke. I had no clue he was black.
Oh, he's black. It was
not a joke.
He has a hand reveal.
By the way, speaking of black, I just found out that I am actually black as well because my family. Right? Because my aunt is black, and then it turns out I have some black genes in me too.
Well, I mean, I'm half. I'm half technically, but no, you know, half white, half black.
Fringy, I do want to ask, why is your character wearing sunglasses in the dark
on top of some roof? Those are lenses, like the Spider-Man mask.
Are they?
No. The ones in those thumbnails are like meant to be sunnies.
Yeah. You're like, I wear my sunglasses.
Yeah, remember, I do a lot of retarded things where I can't convey what I actually want to do in the picture. I just suck.
Can I tell you something, Fringy? Alright, this is a little personal, but like when I started, before I even started YouTube, I was like watching people like you. I was watching your channel, I was watching Top Hats, and I was watching Rags. I barely started watching like Barry early last year, but I was like, God damn, I strive to be like these guys, and I was like making random videos. But I remember when I was like writing scripts, because I used to write scripts, I would jot down this moment in the script where I wanted to say, this is retarded, or you're retarded, but then like I'd scrap it. I'm like, no, I don't think I'd be able to get away with that kind of stuff on YouTube. And then I'd watch your videos and you're like, no, it's retarded. And I was like, okay, it's okay to say retarded. So then I'd put it in my script.
I don't know. Why would anybody get offended over the word retarded?
People do, man.
It just means you're dumb.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. It's not a stab against the actual people who have mental like, who calls a person who actually has any mental disability retarded in real life?
Nobody. Yeah. No. Have you ever watched those black and white documentaries where like, what Jimmy didn't know is that he had a problem. Jimmy was a homosexual. I don't know if you ever watched those black and white documentaries.
I've watched them. They're hilarious.
Yeah, no, or like the old like 1920s or it was like 1940s cigarette commercials. Like, smoking cigarettes will make you smarter, smell better.
Yes, the PSAs.
Yeah, and
there are a lot of PSAs against homosexuality.
Yeah,
there's these.
This is Jimmy's friend, Mr. Burns. He's a deviant. He's a pervert. He's a homosexual. These people can easily sneak into our society. Then you could never tell that they were diseased or tormented by their... You're like, wow, dude.
Who else could forget the classic Pee Wee Herman where he's like, this is crack.
Crack cocaine.
This is crack. I fucking love that. It's ironic coming from him as well. It's just...
But no, yeah, a lot of those ads, they were so
yeah, they're the public service announcements. You know, it's like what was that? Yeah, I know, they're great. I love these things like Michael Jordan. Stop it. Get some help.
I love
Michael Jordan's a huge gambler.
God, see, when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of cable. Like, mind you, this was like 2004 and 3. We had just moved to our house here in Oregon, and we didn't have like cool TVs, or we didn't even have cable. My mom wanted to get this thing called Sky Angel, and Sky Angel was like a all Christian only cable service. And it was run through satellite service, so if it rained, we lost our signal. Yeah, but like, I saved money mowing lawns, and I went to this pawn shop, and I bought like this little black and white TV with antennas for like $10. And $10 to me as a kid was a lot, because I didn't even get an allowance. And
that was a small fortune.
Yeah, and I took it to our house. I plugged it in, and I'd have to like put it at a specific place in my house, extend the antennas all the way, wrap aluminum on them, and I'd be able to pick up Foxbox and a 4Kids TV, which were like Saturday morning cartoons. And I used to watch Ultimate Muscle and Sonic X and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all those kinds of things. But I remember once before like when the cartoon would go on commercial break, this commercial came up. There's these two girls, they're in a laundry room. There's like this black actress there with them. I forgot who she is, but they're like, oh my god, did you hear what happened? That's so gay. Yeah, that's so gay. And then like the black lady walks by and she's like, oh, that's so Arena Franklin, blah 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 blah, says something. And they turn to her and they're like, who says that? And she's like, everyone. And they're like, huh? And then the commercial cuts, have you said something's gay? Knock it off. I'm like, what? I was growing up like, what? It's like, that's gay. If you say that's gay.
By the way, speaking of gay, it reminds me so much. Going back to Jessica Jones. It reminds me so much of that scene where that gay guy got called faggot, and then one guy called asshole, and then the guy literally said, "Don't feed the trolls," and I was like, fuck.
Yeah, no, it was there's a lot of really cringy.
So it was Mass Effect Andromeda writing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Oof.
As I was going to say to Fringy, does that mean you had to watch Bible Man, dude, when you were a kid?
I watched Bible Man growing.
I knew it.
Bible Man.
What's Bible Man? What?
So
Bible Man is a form of torture.
Oh yeah. So like Bible Man basically was this kids Christian show where basically it was like a Christian. It was basically the concept of Batman, but instead. He
quoted Bible bullshit.
He quoted Bible verses and had a lightsaber, and he would fight.
Okay.
By the way, speaking of religion, let me tell you a very funny story about an imam from the Saudi Arabia that came to my country. He can speak Indonesia, that's fine. And then he come into my country. He got her up to a bunch of meetings, and then he said at one moment, I'm not kidding. He said, SpongeBob acquired his pineapple. Do you know how he acquired his pineapple? It's through jihad. Everybody laughed. Everybody, including the Muslims. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy?
I don't know if you guys watched I don't know if you guys watched the Gabriel Iglesias. I think he was live in Hawaii or something. No, yeah, he was live in Hawaii, and basically he was talking about how he went to. He went down to like Israel or some place like that, I think, because like a prince personally wanted to hire him. A prince wanted to personally hire him for like a live stand-up comedy skit, and he said as he was driving in the car, he says as he was driving. Sorry guys, someone came here. Okay, he was saying as he was driving in the car that he was surprised at the taxi driver telling him that God damn this guy.
What's going on?
Hold on, this guy won't shut the fuck up. Close the door. Okay, sorry, someone my brother, like, he just came over and he just, like, randomly opened the door. He saw the box of donuts. He was like, I'm getting one. And took the whole box. Anyway, as I was saying, Gabriel Iglesias was in the car with a taxi driver, and he was, like, surprised at how these guys weren't offended by his sense of humor and anything. He's like, yeah, no, here in this country, you're number 2 comedian. And he's like, well, who's number 1? He's like, who's number 1? Jeff Dunham. I kill you. I was like, holy fuck.
Now I know why Jeff Dunham has money.
Jeff Dunham sucks. I can't believe I thought he was funny when I was younger. No.
Yeah, when you're younger, Jeff Dunham's funny. Then, like, you see Jeff Dunham has the same material over and over again, just slight variations.
There was this country music awards show, and he has like this hick puppet character that's one of his characters, and he did like the live stand-up thing for the Hicks at their country music awards, and none of them seemed to think it was funny what he was doing. They were you could clearly see they were offended because he was like making a lot of incest jokes and stuff like that, and they were just sitting there with like they're sitting on their hands. I was like, oh wow.
When Muslims are more open to your comedy.
Yeah. No, they're like, Jeff Dunham is number 2. I kill you. Ha ha ha. I'm like, holy fuck.
Jeez.
I think Gabriel Iglesias is pretty funny, mainly because I can relate to the culture he's in, because I am Hispanic and I grew up with beaner ass people, so.
That is the technical term.
I'm not as brown as Appa Ben, but you know.
Oh.
I'm actually actually all of you guys are darker than I am.
I wore yellow, dude. Right.
Even you, Gundam.
Yeah, bow to our privilege, you filthy white man.
Okay.
See, when I create characters in video games, they never have my skin tone, and it's very fucking just annoying as shit. So it's like I have to make myself white or black, and I can never really relate to my custom character because it's like, I'm not this fucking color. How come there's a more Indian representation?
I tend to do that as well. I tend to do that as well, but the thing when I make characters, I usually make them white, like even for both males and females. But now I'm making females, but with a darker skin. I don't know, just move on from it. I guess
Fringy,
white is getting boring.
Do you make?
Black Panther's out. It's a new world, brother.
I guess
it finally made $1 billion though, so it's actually the most successful solo superhero film, I think.
Since Iron Man or some shit?
Okay, so...
no, just period.
In general.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
even bigger than The Dark Knight.
We're getting ready to... Yeah, okay. So I'm going to say, we're getting ready to close up, but before we do, I do want to quickly talk about Black Panther with some of you guys, because I did watch it, like, 2 times. Like, the first time I watched it, I was like, this is pretty okay. I didn't think it was, like, as amazing as these reviewers are pointing it out to be. I went in and watched it a second time, and then I could start to see, I'm like, okay, no, I can see how it is different from other superhero movies. It really is different. It still has a lot of the same tropes. Still has the villain you can understand. None of these Marvel movies have actually just come up with a old school, I'm just evil villain. They've always got to be relatable. Unless
that's the problem.
Unless you're counting the Incredible Hulk, where
I wouldn't say that. I would say that most of the Marvel heroes aren't benevolent at all. They're all just assholes, like, through and through.
Loki's
Loki... Well, no, because Loki kills a lot of people. He can't be redeemed. He's killed too many people to be forgiven, if you ask me.
All right.
And let's run through him. The guy from Iron Man 1, no, he's not a good guy at all. He
was a pure bad guy, yeah.
Incredible Hulk, Tim Roth's guy. Nope, he was a bad person. He killed a bunch of civilians.
Abomination, he was pretty bad.
Yeah, Iron Man 2, that Whiplash, he was
understandable.
Kind of nothing. He was kind of a nothing burger. Then you have Red Skull. He's totally unsympathetic.
Yeah, obvious.
And then Iron Man 3, you have the guy being left on the roof one night and having Iron Man not show up is not a good enough reason to become a murderer. He wants to take over the world. Then you had that elf dude, whoever he was.
Yeah,
elf
in For Dark World.
Yeah. You get my point though. Like, aside from maybe Vulture, he's the only one I could see as, like, so sympathetic that he's almost not a bad guy.
Okay,
the thing about the villains, the thing about the villains in Marvel is that they are so bad. They make the heroes look good in comparison, even though the heroes themselves are assholes. Like Tony Stark, it's established very much that Tony Stark is a freaking asshole.
He's a playboy, so I mean,
not just the playboy part. You can clearly see it in. You can clearly see it in Spider-Man: Homecoming, how Vulture becomes Vulture. You can see how Stark influences him in a way, not in a way that he even intended. That's the thing.
No, God, the one I don't agree with you, Fringy, is Whiplash, because if you remember Whiplash, his father died, and
no, that's fair. Yeah,
and he was putting a lot of. And I think his death was related to Tony Stark,
I like
and it was connected.
To be honest, he has very little screen time, but I like him.
Mickey Rourke did a great job playing a Whiplash that's completely different from the Iron Man comics version of Whiplash. Mickey Rourke is just a great actor in general, but and
I think like he wasn't bad. He just didn't get a lot to work with.
Yeah,
but that's because Iron Man 2 was kind of a messy film because it was trying to set up the Avengers.
So, but I've had a few. So here's what I can say about Black Panther. I've had a lot of friends come up to me and tell me this is clearly the worst Marvel movie in history, and I was like, no, I think that title still belongs to Thor 1 and Iron Man 3. Those movies were god awful, and I don't see how they have high.
Thor 2 is the worst.
Thor 2 is
I didn't even see Thor 2.
Oh man,
I didn't see Thor 2 as well.
It's just so bland and nothing. Yeah. It's not good at all.
Which is sad because like there's so many great stories between Loki and Thor and the Marvel universe. How could you fuck it up?
No, I know.
It's just, I think Thor is one of those superheroes that's harder to do. I mean, how are you going to exactly make Thor an interesting character?
You do Ragnarok and just go nuts.
Ragnarok was great. Oh. It was great, but I think that's because Thor wasn't primarily on his own. He had accompanying characters, and the supportive characters in Thor 1 and 2 were horrible, boring, and unlikable. And then in Thor, go ahead.
For Ragnarok, I thought it was bland. I thought for Ragnarok was meh. Like, because I think it's because they took a lot of influence so much from Guardians of the Galaxy to the point where it looks like Guardians again. So it's not for bland, it's Guardians bland. So
but Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the most influential of the Marvel films because Suicide Squad was basically trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, Suicide Squad was the worst piece of shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's really bad. Like with DC, they have such a flawed foundation that they can't really continue with this series, and
so
yet they
weird.
are.
No, it is.
Okay,
it's so weird with DC because everything they made was shit, and then I was even expecting Wonder Woman to be shit, but then I went and saw that, and I was like, that was the most consistent and enjoyable DC movie.
Yeah, but even then, Wonder Woman's still just sort of okay. Like, it's not that good.
No, it's
everybody can tell me it's like a really good, amazing film, but it's okay.
No, it's like
it undermines its own point at the end.
Sandwich to a bunch of shit. The sandwich looks good.
It's not as good as Iron Man. It's not as good as The Dark Knight. It's not as good as Guardians of the Galaxy. You know,
I actually do think it's better than the first Iron Man. I don't even think the first Iron Man's all that great. I don't think any of the Iron Man movies are that great. I think,
but he goes on an arc in the first Iron Man. He changes. He learns.
Right, but that's
on the journey.
That's how all the Marvel superhero movies are. The first movie they learn their lesson, but then the second and third movies they just make the same mistakes.
Do they? What was Captain America's arc in the first Avenger? I want to help people. I want to help people at the end.
I think Captain America's. They really tried to make they put a huge
Winter Soldier had a better character arc.
Winter Soldier was amazing. Winter Soldier was amazing, but that's because Bucky was there.
But it's because it's like Captain America has changed over his movies. Mm-hmm. You know, he went from the guy who would do whatever the government told him to do to basically being totally the enemy of the state because he has other values.
And Tony Stark as a character himself, goddamn, I see like Iron Man 3, like they tried to do another character arc. And Iron Man 3 took too much inspiration from The Dark Knight Rises, in my opinion, especially with like the trailers and everything. And I thought The Dark Knight Rises was mediocre. It was okay. It wasn't great. And then people always point out The Dark Knight as like one of the best superhero movies, but I mean, you take the Joker away from that movie, and it just seems like to be a whole lot
obviously.
No, because Harvey Dent himself also was quite important.
Yeah,
it had two great villains. It had like some really good symbolism.
You're forgetting Scarecrow.
Yeah, no, Scarecrow was in mainly in Batman Begins.
Scarecrow was great in Begins. I like it.
He was. Yeah. I mean, it's a great trilogy. I mean, 3 is the weakest of them, but even that movie's still good.
I think Batman Begins is Batman Begins is my favorite of the trilogies.
That's perfectly fair.
Yeah,
that's perfectly fair. It's a great film.
A lot of people like The Dark Knight the most. And I do too. I think the Joker did Heath Ledger. Heath Slater's a wrestler. Anyway, Heath Ledger did a great job. But I
like Batman Begins a lot more because it's a lot more personal to Bruce Wayne's story. The Dark Knight is a lot more the story of Gotham City and its people, but Batman Begins is a lot more Bruce Wayne, and I can see his character arc. And this is one of the few times where Bruce Wayne is actually relatable. It's very rare for him where Bruce Wayne is actually a legit character.
Yeah, for me, the thing about a lot of people focus on the storytelling part, which is very important, but also when it comes like the action parts of these movies, I think Batman Begins had a had a better climax and more, I guess, over the top climax.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that because if we're talking about personal stuff, then The Dark Knight had a better climax with Harvey Dent and Commissioner Gordon and his kids.
I would say
it doesn't even have to there's not even much action in it. It's like lots of tension, a lot of talking.
Great. It's one of the best scenes in any superhero film. It's awesome. I don't like that you're going, like it's so good. It's so great.
I mean,
no, it's good, but yeah, it's not like compared to the Dark Knight's ending. Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah. I'm talking about action moments, like a climatic action scene. I'm not talking about okay, so the climax to a movie doesn't always have to be action or any of that kind of stuff. So in terms of climax, I do think that the Dark Knight has the best climax, especially with Batman having to make two incredibly suspenseful choices near the end, especially with Harvey Dent about to kill Gordon's kid and all that stuff. Or then when Joker... I really do love, my favorite scene from that movie is when they're on the prison ship and he's like, give me the remote and I will do what needed to be done a long time ago. And I don't know, that was stupid. He still gave him the remote. I was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? He gives him the remote and he just throws it out the window.
I love that part, though.
Yeah, that part was amazing. I did love that part, and I love how Joker's sitting there, he's waiting for the explosion and nothing happens. And then I love
but he still wins. He still wins in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still does. That had a great climax, but in terms of action, I did like the action from Batman Begins.
It was a cool action set piece.
The ending scene where they're on the train.
The train.
Yeah. And you got all the manholes going up in the air. It was a great climax scene, and then I think The Dark Knight Rises final choreographed.
The fear gases also brings really good effects on some of the fantasy elements.
Yeah, but the in terms of choreographed action, The Dark Knight Rises final fight scene, that was just so the fighting going on in the background looks so bad.
It's so messy.
Did you see how there's some people missing punches, or it looks?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Or did you see or the fight between Batman and Bane is so disappointing. I think it because
there's also another thing I find odd about Bane. They didn't it's just I just hate the fact that they only used Tom Hardy. They had Tom Hardy just doing the voice on Bane, just having him record the voice separately, instead of, just having him voice through the mask filter somehow. Because it sounds like I'm watching the movie in my headset. It sounds like Tom Hardy is around you instead of with the environment.
Well, you have to do ADR in this situation, because otherwise it'd be too difficult to hear, maybe. I don't know.
It's just weird.
Well, let's put it this way. Most of the time when you don't think there's ADR, there actually is ADR. Films do a lot of that stuff.
Films do a lot of that stuff, but they don't. But at least they balance the audio somewhat.
Yeah.
To make look like they're in the distance. It doesn't happen with Bane. That just finds weird.
Yeah, no. Bane's character... I really wanted to like Bane's character. I mean, he's definitely he's intimidating. Yeah. He does a lot of... I mean, he actually does things the Joker couldn't physically do, which is what I liked about him as a villain.
Yeah.
He's probably the most intimidating physical villain that the Batman movies even have, and that was without Venom's, the Venom serum. So I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty impressive what they've done. But other than that... I mean, Talia's death at the end was do you remember Talia's death? She's sitting in the car. She's like, I'm just like, what the fuck was that shit?
Talia was cheap. Was cheap in there. She's much better in the comics, in the TV series.
Son of Batman just shows, have any of you seen Son of Batman, the animated movie?
I have. It's bad.
No,
I fucking hate it.
You what?
I saw it.
Yeah, I hate it.
Some of it.
I hate it so much.
I
hated the entire Son of Batman. The second one was Batman versus Robin, which weird idea.
That one wasn't very good.
Batman Bad Blood. I hate all three.
What?
I'm
okay. Bad Blood. Yeah.
I hated all three because one, Damian Wayne is an annoying piece of fucking trash.
Okay. I will say, my favorite part about the Teen Titans movie with Damian Wayne is when the Blue Beetle shoots him in the
Teen
face.
Titans versus Justice League was good. I love that.
Where like Blue Beetle and Damian Wayne are sparring, and Damian Wayne's being a little annoying shit, and he's like, he's like owning Blue Beetle in the fight, and he's like talking shit, and all of a sudden Blue Beetle's suit defends for him and shoots Damian Wayne in the face, and I just kind of did clap my hands. I was like, no, don't you dare, don't you dare revive him, let him die.
Yeah, and the thing is, I wouldn't have an issue. Like Son of Batman, I watched Son of Batman. I initially enjoyed it, but then I heard that there's gonna be a sequel, Batman versus Robin, and then I'm waiting for Damian's character arc. I'm really waiting for him to actually grow as a character so that he can be a little bit more. He can be like sort of the leader figure. That's one, and also be kinder to everybody. But I didn't get it. I didn't get it in Son of Batman. I didn't get it in the second movie. I didn't get it in the third movie. Finally, in Teen Titans, Justice League versus Teen Titans, that's where I get it. That's where he finally grows. He's a lot more comfortable with people.
But I think those three movies were unintentionally a trilogy.
Yeah.
But
especially the idea that Batman is fighting his own son, like he's a fucking giant, and I especially hated the fact that when in Son of Batman, my brother is a big Nightwing fan. He is so pissed off with the fight in the Son of Batman when Robin fights Nightwing. He got him. Nightwing is basically just this really big giant. It's not giants here, but compared to Damian, he's pretty freaking big. But he got him. He cuts himself off a lot to the point where Damian suffers zero injury. Like he doesn't need any healing. But Nightwing, there's like so many cuts on his body. It's like, what the fuck? This is so OP.
It's so weird. Because he's like, it's like Damian Wayne should have lost both those fights, but he somehow prevails. I mean, okay, the Batman one, like the fight with Batman was clearly holding back in the fight, and when they fall down, Batman takes the fall by like moving himself below Damian. So, and I mean, he ends up losing that fight trying to protect Damian. But the one with Nightwing made no sense. I'm like, what? He's just there ponying Nightwing. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
I like Damian when he's being like a calm, methodical, a sort of like he's a very devilish character. Like there's a lot of devil in like he's a very cold character. Like in the comics, he's very cold. Like at one point he beats the entire Teen Titans, which is fucking stupid.
It is.
But then. When he's good when he's trying to be like this very cold, very methodical, very it's kind of like he's basically kind of like of the freaky kids you see in a horror film, except he doesn't have horror sorts of supernatural powers, except his powers, like he's rich and everything like that. He's very methodical, he's very planning. When he's being that, he's excellent. But when he's being crappy, whiny, just oh my god, Tim Drake Robin, I hate you so much. Like I fucking hated him so much.
Okay, Alpha, you vented.
Sorry, I got passionate on that.
We need an Indonesian
I just fucking love Batman.
An Indonesian. The Batman comics, like the thing about the Batman comic series that I love is that Batman isn't the only interesting character in everyone is like so many interesting characters come from the Batman series. So many of them.
Yes.
The best rogues gallery in comics.
Yeah, and to me,
that's the best rogue gallery. That's one. The sidekicks are all great. Like none of them are bad. All of them are great.
The whole Bat family is good.
The whole Bat family
Jason
is
Todd,
interesting.
Dick Grayson, Barbara Gordon. It's all great characters.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys like grew up watching Batman the animated series, but they actually did the storyline, like the one where Barbara fell and dies, and then Gordon gets the whole city to turn on Batman. But I remember watching it. That was a kid's series, so when you saw Barbara fall to her death,
the ending was fucking bullshit, though. I fucking hated that.
Bane,
ending.
I was like, Bane, what the fuck are you doing here, Bane? What do you have to do with this, Bane? Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, so
but I hated the fact that ending, as far as I know, it was a dream. Wasn't it? As far as I think
it was a dream. I think so, but
it was a dream, and I was like, "Holy fucking shit!" They could have progressed the story into more interesting directions, like more intensity in the story. But like, yeah, go back to status quo. Oh come on!
So like,
that. It was that. It reminds me of that the first episode of Teen Titans, the second season of Teen Titans, where Starfire goes into this post-apocalyptic wintry world where everybody grows up. She basically time travels to the future where everything is post-apocalyptic. She meets up with older versions of the other Teen Titans. It's like, wow, that's pretty interesting. But then she time travels back to the past. It's like, oh no, that was so good.
So I mean, my favorite graphic novel of all time, aside from Watchmen, is The Dark Knight Returns. That's like
Dark Knight Returns.
That's a masterpiece. And I remember the Batman animated series. They did their own like 2-episode special. Their own 2-episode special series take on it. But as we all know, The Dark Knight Rises is a very like mature comic. You know, there's a lot of adult themes and stuff.
Dark Knight Returns.
I mean, Dark Knight Returns. Sorry, and. So like that version just disappointed me, and then years later they finally did a animated version of it.
The two movies are great. Yeah.
Oh man,
the 2 movies are great.
They're great. That's DC, like they always nail it with their animated movies.
Yeah. The DC animated direct to DVD movies they're all great. Like
they're really
a lot of them are great. Like the Damian Wayne versions are bad though. That's just disappointing. But Batman Year One was really good. Under the Red Hood was really damn good.
I fucking loved that. Good.
Red Hood was really good.
Oh my god, I fucking loved that. Like it challenges Batman's freaking morality by Jason Todd. Jason Todd challenges him. Like Joker, even I love Joker in there, which is
Joker was actually funny
in there.
Yeah. You know, God, there's so many really good DC animated movies and shows. Like the Justice League series was really, really good for a kids series. Yeah. It was really good.
Justice League was really good. Unlimited was Unlimited was damn. They put so many people in the heroes.
Yeah.
But, like it's action packed, but it's even better. So
the Red Tornado actually got a cameo. I was like, what the fuck? Him?
Yeah, it's weird.
Or Jonah Hex was actually in there. Jonah Hex was actually in Unlimited for like a short time.
Yeah, Jonah Hex was also in there.
And so was Diablo. He was in there too. So it was.
There's also Young Justice too, but I like the first season more than the second. The second was bad. The second was bad.
To this day, the worst animated superhero movie I've ever seen was the next Avengers. Like basically. I don't know if you remember this one, but it was an Avengers movie
even
where
the Avengers had really good animated series, but only Avengers Assembled though. The other Avengers animated series, like the recent ones they did, were bleh.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
Just one more. They also made this. They also made animated series. The animated series. It's basically an Avengers anime where the Marvel superhero characters are basically kind of like stands from JoJo or that's so fucking weird. They're basically Digimons. There we go. They're basically Pokemons. They're basically treated like freaking Pokemons. All of the Marvel superhero characters are treated like Pokemons.
That sounds horrible. That sounds like a nightmare. That sounds
horrible. And then just recently they add Black Panther to do this, and somebody said, "Masaka Burak Banza."
Wakanda Knuckles. All right. Anyway,
I love that. By the way, I'm just gonna need to go off to college in about 20 minutes from now. So thank you guys for having me on the stream.
Yeah. I'm actually about to close. I'm actually about to close the stream. So yeah, thank you for joining us, Apabin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
Catch you later.
Let me read this last super chat so we can get this ending. And this one's actually from Eva Unit 02, $5. Gundam, what's your take on Indian American millennials on being offended by Apu from Simpsons 20 plus years after the fact?
That's actually a thing? I thought that was a joke.
Apparently so. I mean, sometimes with the anti-SJW group, you can't really be too trustworthy with what they present to you because sometimes they kind of make up these scenarios where people are offended by something to kind of start talking about something. Mm-hmm. It's hard to explain. Like,
I'm not a corner store Indian. I'm the one who jumps out of the tree and scouts you, Indian.
No, because I remember there's this article written by like some super right media website, and they're like, oh yeah, Eminem rapped about how he's disappointed in being white, and this and that. And I actually like did some research on it, and basically what they had done is taken 2 separate lyrics from 2 separate songs and had mashed it up and made a sentence, basically taking words out of Eminem's mouth. And so like the anti-SJW group, I mean, and I am anti-SJW. I don't like social justice warriors, I think a lot of us are, but at the same time I don't like just listening to everything they say, because sometimes they are just as deceptive and can create false scenarios that aren't actually true. So I usually like to research anything they bring up before it's true, so I'll actually look into that. I don't know if it's true or not, but yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me if it's true. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know what to say to anybody anymore. I've always found Apu funny.
Yeah.
I never found Apu like really racist, but then again, I'm not Hindu or whatever. He owned a corner store, and back in the day, every time you went to a corner store or gas station, it was either an Arab person, or like an Indian person. Oh, yeah. This is not the library. This you buy the fucking magazine. Oh, you leave. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. All right, whatever. Man.
The 7-Eleven right around my block, like I'll go there sometimes, and there's Indian guys that work there, and he's always like, saying, "How are you doing, my brother?" I'm like, "I'm good. If you get that Coke, you get this hot dog, $3."
They still selling those hot dogs?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know, I'm good. And he still gets it out, and he's still putting it on the counter. I'm like, basically forcefully making me buy it. I'm like, fuck.
He's like, you want this? Oh, listen, you're gonna buy it before I'm forced to throw it out. Now get your ass over here.
Oh yeah. So I'll tell you what is racist real quick is if you ever watched the Aristocats, there's this scene where like, I think it's a semi-racist where they're basically singing "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat," and then basically they have I think like an Asian Chinese cat, and they give him like the buck teeth and like the squinty eyes, and he's like,
oh yeah, that's
and and he's like
bad.
playing, and he's playing the piano with his chopsticks. And he's like, "Fortune cookie always wrong." I'm like, holy fuck. that's a little.
You just get away with that sort of madness. Now it's completely over.
You'd get away with it back then, yeah, but. That
is like a little more tolerant than they were. That's for sure.
I don't know if it's so much tolerance, but more like, oh, we're all in on the joke. Those of us who like basically portraying people this way, and like the people of that ethnicity are like, do you actually think fortune cookies are made by us? Yeah. Anyways,
I don't know who the fuck makes fortune cookies?
The United States. Fortune cookies are an American invention. They're not Chinese at all.
Ain't that some shit?
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think it's time to close off the stream. We're all pretty tired here. It was a really fun stream, honestly.
No, it was really good.
I'll probably go back to sleep.
Yeah, we went off course as always. We didn't actually stick to the main subject, so I'm actually have to change the title of this in the thumbnail and put Appa Ben in there. The
title is Teen Titans Talk.
Teen Titans Talk. Yeah. All right, thank you, Fringy, for joining. Thank you, It'sAGundam, for joining. Everybody go and subscribe to these two guys, and make sure when they stream, you guys give them plenty of super chats.
Yes, give me your money.
Yeah, Fringy doesn't have a job.
He doesn't?
No, he doesn't.
No, I do.
I'm joking around. Okay, guys. Everybody have a good night. Closing the stream now.